Good evening, everyone. We're going to start off tonight with prayer and pledge. If you'd like to participate, please do so. Councilman Copeland will lead the prayer, and Councilman Williams will lead the pledge.
Amen. Let's pray. Gracious Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for another opportunity to come together as council and community to move forward our great city. Father, we ask, oh God, for your wisdom and your guidance as we go throughout our agenda, make decisions on the betterment of our community. Father, we thank you for the voice of our community that have decided to and have showed up to hear and lend their voices. We take all things, oh God, under your guidance and your wisdom that we will make the best decisions for our community. We thank you for your wisdom, grace, and mercy upon our city. Father, we ask that you continue to touch our city workers and our residents. We thank you, oh God, for your grace and your goodness towards our community. We pray this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Sylvia.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Balls.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Present.
Councilmember Ostash.
Present.
Councilmember Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Copeland.
Present.
And Mayor Moore.
Present.
You have all members present.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We got a hallway and a chamber full. I like to see that. I like to see that when it's full. First, I'd like to welcome you again, and I'd also like to ask for my colleagues to all turn off their mobile devices, silence them, and as for your computer, silence them as well. Audience, I ask that you do the same. We are not going to boo, clap, or any obnoxious behavior when someone is speaking. I know we get excited, but we ain't gonna do the hoo-hoo and the hurrahs tonight. We're gonna get through the meeting. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have a few announcements. The first is the council communication for consent agenda item number 15 has been revised to include the addition of transportation costs for the fire department rescue vehicle. The city convenience station will be open this Saturday, July 13th, from 8 a.m. to noon. Residents may utilize the station to drop off bulky items or other miscellaneous items that need disposed of. July 23rd at 4 p.m. is the deadline to file to be a candidate for City Council or the Saginaw School Board. City Council will have 5 4-year terms and 1 2-year term. The Saginaw School District Board will have 3 6-year terms. These positions will all appear on the November 5th ballot, and petition sheets and affidavit of identity forms are available at the City Clerk's office Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Mayor, that takes us to public input.
I ask that you speak clearly when you come to the podium. Please state your name. The city clerk will call you by name. You are to come up, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Please get all of your comments in within that 3 minutes. Madam Clerk.
Our first speaker is Deborah Huddleston.
I've been a resident since 1995. I've been a scamming in various situations here in Saginaw, billing around presidential, a lot of scamming behaviors that I think you guys need to be aware of from here on out. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Our next speaker is Lisa Konechny.
Is that mic on?
Melanie Velasco. What about Timmy Carter?
find a bigger 3 minutes. Pretty intimidating. Hi, I'm Donald James Carter Jr., but back home they call me Jimmy, so please call me Jimmy. And I was brought to Michigan by, what else, a woman, 45 years ago. And we were the opposite of snowbirds. We would come up every summer in our lake cottage, and that basically I looked at the water or I went to the grocery store. But 3 years ago, we sold everything in Florida and moved to Saginaw, and I thought I would reach out and have a purchase contract on a beautiful building, 58-foot tall, commercial building, and my wife's 7th generation, so we got like 500 relatives. So I figured that would be easy to fill that up, but everybody said the same thing. I'm not going into the city. We got to pay an extra tax there, and taxes, as Art Laffer said. Art Laffer was educated at Yale and Stanford. He was awarded the Economic Presidential Medal of Honor. It's the highest civilian honor in the USA. And he says those kind of taxes diminish growth by about 10% on all the other assets in the community. And since that was introduced, I looked up in 1980, we had 24,000 single-family homes in the area. Now we're at 16. Seems like we should get a proposal to help builders build new homes in the area. And there's some that were taken away. I don't know, I wasn't here, but it's like there's cornfields that could be lovely communities, single-family communities. So that's my concern. And I talked to the center of Art Laffer today, and their main right-hand man, Mr. Dinglepuss, he said that he would help me formulate a plan in order to reduce taxes but still create funds for the area. Heck, we could put a $2 charge on cell phones. They charge me $3. What's the difference? Charge me $5 and create revenue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ryan Lee.
Hello, I'm Ryan Lee. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Saginaw. I kind of am speaking on behalf of a lot of city residents besides myself and pretty much a lot of people in Michigan. Just a recent issues, a lot with the violence. I just kind of want to know what the city Saginaw government and the city police are going to do about it. It's concerning for not only myself having 3 young daughters, but a lot of the community residents. And it's getting out of hand, unfortunately. So I know there's not just one fit-all solution. So that's one thing I definitely like to have you guys address. And another concern is the city parks. I mean, we don't have a real good city park. I mean, unfortunately, I have to take my children to different cities to play. And, you know, as myself, I'm willing to help too, volunteer. I mean, I get it, the city doesn't have a lot of budget and money, but we need to build a budget for the community, because if we don't create these community bonds with our younger generation, we're not gonna have a city left. So I feel like even though we don't have the budget for it, we're honestly losing more people from taking away from that. One of the biggest things that we lost was Anderson Water Park. I mean, they used to bring close to 100,000 people here. The previous government took it away. I mean, we don't have a lot left, so what we have, we gotta keep, and we gotta maintain the younger generations to build bonds with each other and get them to interact and realize they can get along. So I would hope that we figure a way out. I know obviously it's gonna take a lot more than just the city government. It's gonna take a lot of the community. We gotta do more as, all of us as one to go fix all these parks up. We should have every park fixed up with all the people we have here. I get it, some people can't do it or don't want to, but there's a lot of people that are willing to do it. I'm willing to, my kids are willing to. So I hope that we do, we do look at them issues and we figure a way out. I know there's not just a one, easy solution, but I want to bring my kids to the city parks. They love a lot of these parks. It's just they're so not maintained, and the overall long-term aspect is if we fix them up, we got to think of the future too. That was the biggest problem, is we didn't have the funds to think of the future. So I definitely, I hope, we do that for the community and just kind of create these bonds that we need. All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Craig Tatum.
City manager and city council again. Mission in the city evolved 20 years ago out of concerns of a safe place for children to play, a place where families could get together and have fun. That's been its purpose since it started under the late Dr. Rufus Bradley. It's been that way since then. It's a park in the community, for the community. It's open every day, the entire summer, from 7:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It reopens at 5 o'clock and closes at 7:30. It's a gem in the heart of the city. It's in a place where young people come who can't go other places. This is a safe place for them. So we've done everything from community block parties to family reunions to church in the park. Fraternities and sororities have come and had events there. Foster care agencies have done things there, and families come. It's an ideal place. And what we're seeking again is funding through the American Rescue Plan Act, again, to continue to beautify that area. It's got a life-size chess court. We just added a sand pit. It's a park where kids enjoy themselves. Last year, nearly 10,000 people came to that park because they see value in the park. You may not see them there all day, but you don't see them at any park all day. It's just the way life is. We seek funding to continue to improve the park. You have the information. We submitted for you to look at. You can see the things that we intend to do. That's our intent. We want to continue to transform lives and create a safe place. It's been a violence-free park in the community for nearly 15 years. Violence-free for 15 years. That says a whole lot about what we do there. The community respects the park and those that manage the park. And all we want to do is continue to further build so that we have a place for the children to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Donovan Monte Gomez. On to Inez Williams.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
To our Mayor Pro Tem, and all of our council members. I am Inez Williams, and I am here to represent the Youth Employment and Recreation Network, Aaron. We appreciate everything that each one of you have did for each one of us. In 2022, December, you decided that our program was a good program and that you were going to award us the dollars to move forward. 2023, we actually were given the green light to move forward, and we did. We started the summer of 2023, had a fantastic summer. Our young people were engaged in substance abuse prevention activities, law enforcement activities. There was so much they participated in, even in our community. They had the opportunity to work with One Week, One Street, working with other community individuals to help families to maintain their property. I want to say we're excited about this year. We're grateful because we have reorganized. We do have a new fiduciary, Saginaw Community Foundation. We have individuals who are supporting what we're doing and what we did in the past. Our passion and our heart still remains the same. We care about our young people, we care about their safety and what they engage in. We're not giving up on them. Things happen, but we believe it's time for us to move forward. We have submitted, signed contract, reorganization chart. Also, we want to move forward to make sure that our young people continue to stay safe within our community. They have not just been sitting idle. We have been keeping them busy. I was taught and told an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So they've engaged in opioid awareness campaigns, festivals, community family festivals. Also, they participated in Saginaw Public Schools diversity event. They just participated in a youth explosion. The speaker was awesome. CMU medical student, she did a great job, June 30th. So I'm just saying, we're excited. We're ready to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kimaya Brooks.
Good evening, Mayor Brenda Moore and all city council members. I'm Kimaya Brooks. I attend Saginaw Public Schools, and I work as a youth employee at your Youth Employment and Recreation Network last summer in 2023. I became a great daughter to my parents, a good sister to my siblings, a proactive citizen in my community, and an awesome student in school. In my newly devised youth employment toolkit, I understand that I must be on time for work, school, and other activities to be a success person in life. Respect, honesty, confidence, accountability, and integrity are among the key core values we gain throughout the YEARN Summer Employment Program. YEARN has taught me how to be a leader and how to collaborate with my peers and communicate with others. It has also taught me how to have courage, self-awareness, compassion, and resilience. There are many teenagers today who are choosing the wrong path, but you also have teenagers like us who want to make a change within the community. This program can help motivate other teenagers to act toward achieving a common goal in the community. Building trustworthiness amongst each other and towards others helps show people that we are reliable and we keep our promises to make a difference around the world. My peers and I are proud to have worked together to ensure that we made a difference in our community and to show you that we appreciate each one of you for taking the time for funding and supporting the YEARN program. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jordan Bibb.
Good evening, Mayor Brenda Moore and all city council members. I am Jordan Bibb, a proud graduate of Bridgeport High School, and I am looking forward to attending Delta College in the fall. I worked in the Youth Employment and Recreation Network YEARN summer program last year in 2023. I worked with a group of young people who worked at different organizations throughout the week. We came together to share in schedule prevention activities such as substance abuse, restorative practices, law enforcement, ACEs, violence, crime, community safety awareness, youth work development skills, and other activities which impacted our lives. We enjoy working in the community and discussing the importance of positive change. We recited the Youth Creed daily and have fun about learning about new things. There are a lot of people dying in the streets today because they don't know how to engage in conversations with restorative practices as a guide to resolving problems or issues. We work together and achieve the goals of the 5 restorative practices: relationship, respect, responsibility, repair, and reintegration. We have misunderstanding and we were misunderstood, but we made a circle to resolve the problems right away. Thank you for the opportunity to help us realize we matter in the lives of others, and we can continue to make better impact on others when we come together. We have a scrapbook full of great pictures and activities that we enjoy engaging in during last summer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jamarian Holmes.
Good evening, Mayor Moore and
You can
City
pull it
Council.
up.
Good evening, Mayor Moore and City Council
Good evening,
members.
Patty.
My name is Jamarian Holmes, and I am a sophomore student in high school. I worked as a youth employee last summer with a group of students who were able to engage in work activities which impacted our lives and kept us busy, safe, and focused. I enjoyed working in the community and obtaining great work ethic skills to ensure that I would become an asset to the community and any future employers. We participated in daily core value activities, and the one that stood out in my mind was integrity. Integrity is when your words line up with your actions and your actions line up with your words. My peers and I are proud to work together and to share with you that we do not fight among ourselves, and we understood each other. We will circle up to resolve the problem or issue right away. While participating in prevention efforts to protect ourselves from gang violence, substance usage, we learned that we have responsibility to use our power to say no to drugs and speak against violence. Thank you for ensuring that we made a difference in our communities, local governments, meetings, families, and in school. Thank you for your consideration and supporting us in moving forward with our efforts in your initiative. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Betty Holmes.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city manager, and the city attorney, and everyone in the audience. I am speaking on behalf of Yearn Youth Initiative Program. I'm been with the program. I've been doing and working with youth for over 20 years, and this has been a phenomenal program for our youth. We work 10 weeks of the summer program with these young ladies and men, and they have learned so much. They are prepared to go, really, right now, they could go into the world and work on any job with the proper training. And that is what we prepared them to do. We prepared them to go before employers, and we did mock interviews. Our program was based on integrity. So when we talked to our young employees, whatever we told them, that's what they expected. So we had told them in the beginning that they would be working possibly for a two-year program. So, and they making us stick to our guns. They are like kids prepared for Christmas. They are waiting eagerly for us to say, let's go. They volunteered, and they volunteering. And now they're still asking the question, when are we going back to work? So every time our phone is ringing and we're getting texts to keep that word integrity amongst our group and our staff, it's like, what answer do we give them? What answer do we give them? When do they start? Half of our children work this program with single parents. Some of them have paid some of the water bills for their parents. They assisted with their rent. And I'm standing here today knowing that I have 3 of my children have received evictions, water turned off, and need clothes on their back. So I'm just asking the council and whoever is in charge of getting our program back up and running to try and do it with a little bit more speed, because our kids are going down. They are missing out. I know it sounds like a sad story, but it's a true story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bishop Larry Campbell.
Good evening to Mayor Moore, the Mayor Pro Tem, to the City Council members, and to the City Manager. I'm Bishop Larry Campbell, pastor of the New Birth Missionary Baptist Cathedral. I am also the CEO of Parishioners on Patrol. I'm also the co-chair of AllPAC. I'm here tonight, just like the rest of our organization. I'm here to recommend or ask the City Council if they would reinstate the YEARN program. This program was an awesome help to our community. We've seen so many positive things happening with this program, and we just want to make sure that our young people will get another chance this year to be a part of it. The YEARN program is a collaborative group with partners making a major impact in our community and in the lives of our young people. Our phones are just running, and text messages are, when are we going back to work? Can you say something? And we're here tonight to appeal to the City Council. If you would see it any way possible that we can have this program reinstated, we definitely would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Willie Haynes.
Willie's not here.
On to Delina Spates Allen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Moore, City Council members, City Manager Tim Morales, and the city staff. My name is Delana Spates Allen, and I am a board member at First Ward Community Services, and I oversee the opera dollars. I am here to follow up on the letter that was written to request additional ARPA funds to support additional crucial upgrades and renovations to First Ward Community Services, where we can guarantee that all dollars will be allocated by December 31st of 2024 and spent no later than June of 2025, if a decision is made in a timely manner. As we all are aware, our community has experienced a significant decrease in population over the years, therefore impacting recreation in the city of Saginaw. This demographic shift has had significant implications on both the northeast and south sides of Saginaw, particularly for our youth and senior population. In fairness to the northeast side of Saginaw, we would like to be granted additional ARPA dollars that will allow us to continue to update our facilities so that we can continue to impact generations, where we can make a mark on people's lives where it can never be erased. In summary, First Ward being 93 years old, this community center is not just a physical space, but it's a cornerstone of the community life that enhances social connections, supports youth and seniors, it stimulates economic activity, and encourages civic engagement. Its impact extends beyond its walls, enriching the fabric of the city and improving the quality of life for its residents across generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Robert Brown.
Good evening, Mayor Moore and council members. My name is Robert Brown. I'm the CEO of First Ward Community Center, Now, I come before you today on behalf of the Board of Directors for First World Community Center and our staff. First World Community Center was established in 1931. We have been a longstanding pillar in the community. Being that we're over 90-plus years old, First Ward has played a significant role in serving the community of Saginaw for many decades, providing various programs and services to residents throughout the city of Saginaw. Particularly since 2012, we were one of the first organizations to start the beautification and revitalization of Saginaw. If you guys remember, I think Mr. Phil Cartwright, Bruce Carrigan, I think his name is, and Marianne, I forget Marianne's last name, but we work with them closely to work at all the city parks. First Ward Youth has been at every single city park in Saginaw, removing brush and debris. We particularly removed brush and debris on the south side of the Rush Street Bridge, where that access to the YMCA is. We also removed debris on Ezra Rush Street, Ojibwe Island. We worked on all sides of the city. We worked at Wicks Park, the boat launches. We worked with our brother and sister organizations to help them beautify Saginaw as well. To the extent that currently those organizations are able to have a group of young folks that actually work and do the same type of work that we've been doing since 2012. So we just come before the city and ask, in some form, we feel that we were overlooked with us being an organization since 1931 and the work that we've done. We're just looking to see, to make our stake known of what we do in the city, what we want to continue to do, and an example of what we do. Today, ironically, we were at Archer A. Clater Park. And so our young folks, if you get a chance to ride past there, that park hadn't been cleaned up probably since the last time we cleaned it up, which was 3 or 4 years ago. We went through there today, cleaned the park up, and you can see the pictures, the before and after pictures on our Facebook page. So we just ask that you continue to support First Ward as we continue to support the city of Saginaw.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gerald Kareem.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Moore, City Council, City Manager Morales, City staff. My name is Gerald Kareem, and I am the Chairman of the Board of Directors of First Ward Community Center. I am doubly proud tonight, proud to be able to stand before this distinguished body, and I'm definitely proud to be on the board of First Ward Community Center. I want to thank you for your ARPA allocations that you made to First Ward, and would like to provide you with an update along with all of the momentum that's going on at First Ward Community Center. Parking lots have been resurfaced, elevators repaired, new air conditioning installed, 2 new vans purchased, 5 trees being removed. The exterior of the building is being painted and engineering drawings being completed for the renovations of the gym and the stage, making our bathrooms ADA compliant. Building renovations are expected to begin July 15th and is expected to be completed by October. Again, I want to thank you very much for the support that you have extended to First Ward Community Center all of the years, and thank you very much for the time allotted to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Patrice Boulware.
You can do it.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Brenda Moore, Mayor Brenda Moore, City Council, City Manager, Mr. Morales, and to each and every one of you council members, and to everyone that's present. My name is Patrice Boulware, and I am a crazy lady who is concerned about the happenings of the city, and I love where I live. I am a 13-year volunteer who has founded Project Unify Incorporated, which is a nonprofit organization, one whom adopted the veteran Lawrence H. McKinney and the Unity Parks located on the north and east side of Saginaw, Michigan. I've learned recently that it's not what you know or who you know, but it's what do the people know about you. And with that being said, I have a strong notion that many people in high seats are aware of my steadfastness, my consistency as founder of Project Unify and the adopter of these two great parks. Yet no one from churches, community, and maybe even this council has recognized nor nominated our nonprofit organization to receive any of the returning funds from the opera funding. My reasoning for not submitting my own proposal, it was because two entities of the city members have reached out to me and asked me to partner with them and that they would incorporate us in their proposal. So needless to say, it did not happen. But I would like to ask council as a whole, why wasn't Project Unify recommended to receive any funds when we are a representative of the city? And we have been for a long time now, and very consistent. We have upheld all the guidelines way before this opera funding had came about. So I don't understand why. I believe that we have proven ourselves worthy. So regardless of what others may do at these parks, we have eliminated the blight, we have developed, we have brought them back to life, and we are maintaining the beautification. So I'm just asking council on tonight, if you would reconsider, or at least think about it, and please make a move on our behalf. I don't know what to ask for. We do have a scope in place. But the dollars that would be given, if given, will continue the development process as we enhance the quality of life for all ages and all walk of life. And we need your help. I want to thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephen Gaddy.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Council,
Good afternoon.
members, and all the other government officials. I rose to speak on behalf of the Yearn program. I worked as a youth coordinator there for Parishioners on Patrol, and I just encourage you to support our journey on getting back on track, because we are losing some valuable time with these kids, because the most valuable thing that we made during that time that we worked with them was we built relationships with those kids and taught them how to function in the workplace, showed them different opportunities in the community that they could do. They've been to the courthouses, they've been to the jails, they've talked to officers, they've talked to sheriffs. I mean, they even have come into the city buildings just to see what you guys do so that we could train them, because you got to train up a child in the way that they will go. We see all the crime in the streets of Saginaw, and we want to work and do our part to rein these kids in, because I'm a concerned parent too, as well as everybody in here. So we just encourage you to come and support us so that we can move forward. We're continuing to keep these kids off the street and teaching them something different, because as you know, the streets always got something for you to do. But we want them to do the right thing, so please support us and fund us if you find it necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Hurley Coleman III.
Good evening, Council. Just wanted to come before you for just a quick second to bring to your attention some of the concerns that we had in our neighborhood. I serve as Executive Director, CEO of Saginaw County Community Action, also the fiduciary for the Unity Community Neighborhood Association, which meets monthly at our agency, as well as hold multiple community events all over, from all types of different events. We all know what we do at CAC. But my reason for today was to bring to your attention that we're grateful to all the access that we have in terms of being able to help people. It was brought to my attention through a community leader that there is a facility that is going to be built right next to us, that it's possibly marijuana in fact processing. if it's a factory. I have not met the new owners yet. I don't know what happened with how that acquisition took place, but it was brought up by community members of the association. We all know that Claytor School, ISD, is, of course, it's Bridgeport, it's Buena Vista, but it's a half mile down the road. Heaven Ridge is no longer a school, but it still has a playground in the back. We have neighbors fixated from the end of the BV corridor all the way back into the east side border where we sit. We are surrounded by homes. We're surrounded by children. We're surrounded by, there's a church, Nations Church is about a block away from CAC. So my concern is that this building is currently being renovated, possibly being cleaned out. I would love to find out a little bit more information about what's happening so that I can get the information back to the constituents and people who come to me for answers. And so part of our job in terms of CAC is not just to help with poverty-related solutions, but it's also to be an advocate for the community and to be the voice that they need. So I come tonight to bring that issue to you so that we could possibly get some solutions and find a way to either bridge this gap, work together, or if it is set in stone, we just need to know so we can know how to prepare the families who live in that district, how to prepare us who will be next to it, who we do distributions and all types of other things. So I think it's a concern of us, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final speaker is Ira Mitchell.
Good evening, Mayor Brenda Board and all city council members. I am Amira Mitchell and I attend Great Lakes Bay Early College. I worked for Yarn Youth Employment and Recreation Network last summer in 2023, and in my opinion, it was a successful summer. We learned so much about working together and working with other youth groups during special work, educational activities. When we worked, our phones were a distraction, so there was a rule established to give our phones to supervisors at the start of each day and give them back at the end. We worked in a structured environment which kept us safe, secure, and secure while maintaining a focused, positive, and work ethic. And all our leaders worked together to be fair, firm, and consistent, aiming to teach us respect, teamwork, integrity, and responsibility. We worked with police officers, community leaders, and service providers. Each adult addressed the issues of born to stand out or trying to fit in with personal experience and getting to know yourself and others. Many of our attitudes changed when we participated in restorative practices with Ms. Inez. We were taught how to work through conflicts respectfully and with a clear understanding of how we should respond to others. We engaged in public speaking sessions and shared experience of peer pressure. I enjoy working in the community and obtaining great work skills and knowledge from our leaders. We discussed daily core values which help shape our lives. We were told if we don't stand for something, you will fall for something that could hurt you and others. My peers and I are from different areas of the city, and we didn't disagree with one another, and we didn't engage in physical fighting. With the money I earned from Yarn, I was able to go shopping and buy my own school clothes and material. And we were happy to report that the summer program was successful, and we were looking forward to getting back to work soon. I'm from a big family, and I learned things that I would not have been privileged to learn if we didn't have the support of Saginaw City Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to become a part of something other than my normal routine. Thank you for supporting the program of Yarn and letting us know that we are responsible for choosing friends wisely, because we were told if you show me your friends, I will show you your future. Thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts and pray that we will continue to work together to accomplish the mission of Yarn this year and supporting positive youth development and employment. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that takes us to remarks of council.
Council members, you have 3 minutes as well. We'll begin tonight with Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Saginaw. I'm going to make this pretty quick. It's great to see everybody here. Thank you for the presentations from First Ward and the updates from Urine. Thank you to Mr. Ryan Lee for bringing up those issues. It's always important when fathers or parents come and talk about how to better help our city move forward in a healthy and safe way. So the only thing I really have outside of wishing everybody a good rest of their midsummer, is if anybody has any information on the murders of Keyshawn Banks, Quan Lee, Quay Smithers, Mario Bulger, Pamela Whitson, Ryan Clemens, Roy Whitson III, Cortez Hampton, Mazzy Rudison, Jonathan Lamar Van, Ronald Pacheco, DeLance Stevens, T.Z. Thomas, DeQuan Mims, Janelle Whittington, and Darius Horson. Please call 1-800-422-5245. Again, that's Crime Stoppers at 1-800-422-5245 if you have any information leading to the arrest of those who had murdered them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Copeland.
Good evening, City of Saginaw. Thank you to all of our public speakers that were here this evening to share with us. I'm thankful to hear your voices tonight. I do want to I'm thankful for the youth activities, but I want to share this summer, I have been in a different role. I've been a project director for a reading program in the City of Saginaw. And boy, I'm so thankful for our youth advocates and our youth workers, because I realize that's not my thing. I'm going to stick with the college students. But it is so much energy in our community to hear about with Coach Dawkins, the basketball camp that was at the NABE, to hear about, I was with the First Ward and their DNR students a couple of weeks ago, talking to them, and they end up coming to campus, and someone started calling my name, and I didn't realize they remembered me. I was only talking for like 20 minutes, but they remembered who I was and had me feel like $1 million. So I'm really thankful for the youth and all the activities that are going on. My prayers are with those who have lost their lives. Family members, my condolences are with all of your families. Please know, and Mr. Lee, thank you for coming to share that. At our last meeting, our chief was sharing some things of what they're doing. And in our correspondence as council, I'm appreciative that we get updates of the work and the investigations that are going on, that our police officers are working hard to make sure that these answers are solved and brought to our communities. And then also, I do want to share, before I am done, next week, a part of this reading program, I have been able to spend some time at New Life, at their ministry, as well as the park, and seeing the great work that is being done at our park, providing that space. But next Wednesday, there is the Cat Block Party that's going on from 11 to 7, and our young people are actually doing a project, a social justice project about banned books. I did not know how serious it was until I started trying to find books to purchase on Black history, of how hard it is to get the books, because some of these books are banned. So next week, there's going to be a lot of conversation to educate our community next Wednesday at the New Life Park. I encourage everyone to come out. I'm just truly thankful for some of these activities that have been coming through my messages and tagging me in and helping me become aware of more things that are going on in our city. So thank you for being here this evening. And this past Sunday, I used Mayor Moore's "It's a New Season, It's a New Day," but then Bishop Winans was in Saginaw, and I told him restoration has finally come. So we've been restored in the city of Saginaw. So I'm wonderful with that. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Sylvia.
Thank you so very much, Mayor.
Pull your mic.
First of all, I'd like to say thank everyone for coming to your city council meeting this evening. This is your city council. I'd like to thank everyone that is not here that is also watching. I'd like to thank everyone that came up, and we did listen to you. And my heart became a little heavy for a minute, because as most of you all know, for probably over 30 years, my passion is youth. And when you talk about youth, it do something to me. I just like to see everything, catching them at this young age and molding and making. That means a lot. And some of us know that. It's a certain age you get them. I have visited a lot of you all's youth centers. I've interacted with some of the youth from Yearn. I'd like to say thank you all, and it took a lot. And you all came up here and spoke so eloquently, and thank you so much. So evidently, not only are you learning in the program, you're learning at home, and that makes a big difference. And it's about New Life. Y'all may have seen my name a little bit, but I will be there, and we talking about spades, but we won't go there. But, yeah, my name been circulating, so I will see you. I see you at New Light. I'd like to say also condolences, heartfelt condolences to our young men. And get what I'm saying when I say young men, because it's something different when so many of our young men are getting killed in the streets of Saginaw. And if you stay here, I will be addressing this a little later in the evening. But I'd like to send condolences to the family of Mr. Horrison, Mr. Morrow, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Whittington, and Mr. Mims. And I'd also like to give you a heads up that several of these young men were killed at or near party stores. Shouldn't be, things just shouldn't be happening. And I will discuss it a little later. Thank you so very much for coming to City Council, your City Council. Have a blessed rest of the day.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Saginaw. I want to start by thanking everyone for coming out, especially our youth speakers. And I will say that I was extremely impressed by the ones who were able to read what they were saying from their phones. There's no way, there is no way that I could do that. I would like to say this, that I think it's very important for citizens to understand what it is City Council is able to do and what they can do for you. It is truly important for you to educate yourselves on ordinances, policies, procedures, rules, regulations, because there's limitations that we have as individuals on council. We can do certain things together, but there are still a lot of things that we cannot do. So please educate yourself. It's your responsibility to keep us in check, but you also need to understand how you can do that. And you can't do that based off of how you feel. You feel it should go this way. I feel it should be this way. You're upset. What emotion plays nothing in. Let me take that back. Emotion should not play into anything that goes on up here. This is a professional setting, just like it is at most of your jobs. And at your jobs, you have rules and regulations. You have procedures on how things are done. A lot of things that are brought to council, it's good for awareness. It's good for the city staff to be able to hear. But also understand what you are asking, we may not be able to address at all. So there are departments within City Hall, within the city, that you can go to have your problem solved. But still, coming here is good. This is great to have everyone in here tonight. It's a wonderful audience tonight. But please, educate yourselves on how to manage your city council and what it is that we're supposed to be doing and what we can do. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Councilman Balls.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to thank the community for coming out this evening to address your concerns about the different programs. And I'd like to thank you all for being volunteers for the city of Saginaw. If it wasn't for volunteers, I would hate to think where I would be at today. Being a First Ward Community Center kid myself, going there as started off at 5 or 6 years old and probably went there until I got to be a teenager. And I can remember some of the people that used to be there, Jesse Daly, Ernie Thompson, Mr. Daniels, Reuben Daniels, and the lessons that they taught us as we was growing up. You know, a lot of times we didn't want to listen to what they said, but boy, it seemed like as soon as you got in some trouble, you sure to hear them voices coming back in your head. You know, I know some of the youth probably feel the same way when other adults are telling you things, and you say, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that, but then later on you get into tight and you say, boy, I wish I had did it. So I appreciate what you guys are doing for the community, the Yearn program, Ms. Bullware, the First Ward Community Center. We need you in our community because if it wasn't for you guys, it'd probably be a lot more depth in this community. But we got to, each one has to teach one, and that's how we're going to win this city back, by us being involved in our children's lives. I'm not going to tell you how long I've been involved in the Big Brothers and Sisters program, but after having 7 or 8 little brothers, none of them have been killed, or none of them had been in jail. And it's probably because of the little mentoring that goes on between us too. And it don't take a lot. All it takes is just to be involved in a kid's life. If I'm cutting grass, you better believe my little brother cutting grass. If he bring his bike over my house for me to fix, you better believe he's gonna help me fix that bike. And I give every one of my little brothers a toolbox. Every last one, I had 6 little brothers. Every last one of them received a toolbox from me before our relationship is over with. And you ought to see how they feel when they go home with their toolboxes, and their mother said, he come in the house with a toolbox and a big smile on his face, telling me, what you want me to fix, Mama? What you want me to fix, Mama? You know, so we can instill things in our children's lives, and I appreciate you guys for doing that for the people, the citizens in the city of Saginaw. My 2 concerns, I'm concerned too about the deaths that go on in the city of Saginaw. It's heartbreaking to realize that these kids are getting shot up around liquor stores, like you said. I talked to a young lady the other day, and she said that she hang out till 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, where'd you go at 4 o'clock in the morning at 20 years old? She said, we just go park at some liquor store or something like that. We just park and have our drinks out there. And those become shooting galleries for our kids because of the ignorance that goes on with some kids not liking other kids, or everybody want to get back on what happened last week or last month or last year. So the best thing we can do is continue to be involved in our children's lives. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ostash.
Thanks, Mayor. Welcome, everybody, for coming out tonight. We have a full house, and for everybody that's watching from home. Also, too, for all of our public speakers, and also to my council colleagues who have had some really good comments up to this point, and I agree with them just on everything. Just a couple of things, because I know that I want to mention. Ryan, thanks for coming out and speaking tonight. We've talked on various other occasions of bringing those concerns, and also about the gatherings. That's something that we talked about that when I hosted a front porch roll call recently with the Saginaw Police Department at my house. If anybody hasn't had the opportunity to go one of these, please do. This last one was excellent. It's a chance for the citizens to come out, voice their concerns to the police department, the Michigan State Police, and others that are protecting our city, but also then too to get to know the officers a little bit and try to develop a relationship. So also you mentioned parks, and I'm also going to mention Rob, I don't know if you're still in the room, but thank you for cleaning all the parks that you do, and thank you to Patrice for adopting parks. I've actually adopted one myself, a small park that we take care of in our neighborhood. But two, Parks and Recreation was one of the first big things to leave the city under the tax cap back in the 1980s. So hats off to the group that's working on that. I've got, when they meet, if you ever want to drop by and share some of your ideas with them, I can get you in touch with that group. Also to Mr. Coleman III, thank you for coming out and talking to us. Thanks for everything that CAC does in this city. I'm just always blown away by all the services that you provide. But also, I was kind of waiting for an address, and staff will follow up with you if we can get that address. I don't know if you're still in the room. And then just a couple other things to mention. The city website, if you visit the human resource section, we are hiring. There's quite a few jobs there. I've been putting some of that on my Facebook page. Also, congratulations to Mr. Eugene Seals Jr. He has became the new CEO for the Saginaw Chamber of Commerce, so congratulations to your new position. And I mentioned the front porch roll call that I had at my house. If you are interested in hosting one of these, please get a hold of our police department. They'll schedule that for you. The next front porch call is going to be July 16th, 6 p.m., and this is going to be hosted by the East Side Soup Kitchen. And also, too, over the last few weeks that we were off, there was the resource fair that we did down at the Bliss Park. Excellent event. Thank you to all the vendors and everybody that came out that day. There was job fairs and everything. Just thank you to everybody for the time that you put into that great event. And that is it, Mayor. I'm done.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Garcia.
Good evening, concerned citizens of the community. Thank you all for coming and showing out on this lovely, beautiful summer day. Thank you for the youth. I know it's not always easy to go up to the podium, especially in a room full of people, but great job and kudos. I know how it is to earn your money and to pay for things on your own. So that's great to have at a young age because you can carry that on in life. I'm always about my side hustles, so I get it, to have that money to spend. Also, just want to say big kudos to Thomas Roy and his fireworks display. It was phenomenal, and I still say hands down, Saginaw has one of the best. It's a great asset to our community. All the volunteers I helped, this was my second year raising the flag, and that's always a great event where a lot of volunteers come early in the morning and help with that. So that's really nice every year to look forward to. It doesn't cost anything. I also got to ride the golf cart and go down to the silos. I was at the ribbon cutting ceremony, but I didn't get to see the other side. So it was just nice to see how beautiful our city can be when we work together. There was no violence. Awesome. We can do it, Saginaw, hands down. You know, there's no reason. That just shows right there one of the biggest events in the city of Saginaw and how we came together as a family and love and peace, and that's how it's supposed to be. And so, you know, we can continue to do this if we help each other out. Like they said, you look out for your neighbor. So let's continue to do that. And also, Friday Night Live starts this Friday. Eastside Soup Kitchen will be down there as well, collecting canned goods in there for their pantry in there. They're serving about 800 people meals a day at lunchtime. And they also have a drive-in service. But the Friday Night Live, one of my favorite one is the Fiesta Grande night and the Motown night. So those will be coming out 5:30 to 9 at the Morley Plaza. So make sure you go down. There's always a good time for families. It's a great event, doesn't cost to get in. And they've been doing it, I believe, over 20 years. So if you get a chance, every Friday, starting this Friday, they will be having that. Saginaw is so awesome. There's so much stuff going on. I don't know if you guys pick up any of these, but we have them down, I know, in the lobby. And there's so many great events going on that you can take your children. Today, I got the chance to be featured in Star Spotlight. And I went down to the Splash Park over here on the south side where I'm always by. And it was so nice just to see the families there utilizing that park. They were having picnics and, you know, just the children being happy and going into the water. So plan on taking my grandson to go and maybe mingle with other little toddlers his age, but Saginaw has so much stuff going on. When they say there's nothing going on, you're not looking for the resources because they're there. There's so many food giveaways that are going on right now. So Facebook is a good tool if you use it properly to find that information, you know. So just keep positive, and they always call me Positive P, but you know, the resources are there. They're out there. There's people willing to help, you know. So thank you for coming out. Good night. God bless. And thanks for coming.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening to everybody here. Thank you to all of our public speakers who are here tonight, especially our young people. You guys should be very proud of yourselves with all of the new skills and abilities that you've learned over the last summer, and it shows because you guys did a really good job here tonight. And to those of you young people who are here just joining in support, it's almost just as difficult to sit quietly through things like this as it is to get up and talk in front of a group. So thank you guys for being here. But I'll start where Councilwoman Garcia left off with Friday Night Live. If you are looking for an opportunity to speak to your council members, come down and have a more personal conversation with us, because we always have a table down there. And it gives us a little bit more of an opportunity to have a dialogue with our community than council comment does, unfortunately. But so please join us. Very good cause, and bring your non-perishable or your non-perishables for the Feed the Van event. But to Mr. Ryan or Mr. Lee and Ms. Patrice, I wholeheartedly agree with you about the parks. We've had several conversations, both of us. But when I met Patrice, it was 13 years ago, and she was running into a brick wall trying to get the school district to donate the equipment to the park because they were closing the school, and it was just it just made sense, but we couldn't get it to work. And finally, after a couple of years of determination and our brilliant city manager taking over and being kind enough to entertain our request, we were able to make that happen eventually. So when Ms. Patrice comes forward and talks about all the hard work she's done and her desire to be supported in that work, she's very correct, and she's telling the truth because she's been very dedicated for a very long time. And to First Ward, first of all, when it comes to ARPA allocations, I like capital improvements that are permanent and lasting. So I love to hear that you're asking for that additional allocation, and it's certainly something I would hope we would explore. But I also want to thank First Ward and their DNR program because, as Mr. Brown mentioned, they were at Clater Park. So I got some pictures today of them all cleaning up, and I didn't know if it was pre-planned or if it just was good luck on my part. But a friend of mine and I are trying to adopt Dr. Clater Park, And so hopefully, if that happens, we'll be able to go over there and just kind of pick up where they left off and make sure that everything stays maintained nicely the way they've done, and we can have a nice clean slate to start working. But we should be organizing a formal cleanup of that park and trying to do some fundraising. But to having nothing to do with my desire to adopt that park, I would like, or would hope that our council would look at some allocation to our parks. It certainly affects our youth. It's a public health issue. We have many amazing city parks, but they're unfortunately not maintained the way that they deserve. And that's all.
Last but not least, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. And it's cold in here. I don't know about y'all, but I'm freezing. It's cold in this place. Councilman Williams really struck a nerve because he was so true. I think people got the wrong concept about what city council is. We have one employee and we do policies and procedures. We do make recommendations and we do have to do a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of things that we do for love. Okay, when you see me in the community, that's because I love my city and I want to be a part. I don't want to be nosy. I don't want to see what you're doing. All I want to do is make it better. This week and last week and the week before is New Mercy for this city. It has been so much going on in this city. Can't nobody say that we have nothing to do. I understand it's not what you want to do. My young people, you know what? That's right. You're holding us to the fire. We're holding adults to the fire as well. I would love, if I was a millionaire, I would be broke. Because I would take all of my money and invest it back in this city. Why? Because this is where I live. So when we begin to do deliberations and talk about things, we don't always agree. But you can't tell it out front. Nobody is trying to knock each other down. I wish I had the money that I could give everybody that put their name in the portal something. Because every program that I read had something to offer this city. I don't know when, I don't know how. But I know that Saginaw is evolving. We are growing. We're not the same way we used to be 4 years ago before I started. And I'm not saying that it's all my doing, it's y'all doing. You hold me accountable and I try to do the best I can. So when we talk about dollars and cents, and I was in a meeting today, and we in there asking for $50 million. I don't ask for no little money when I'm asking. We ask for big money. So we've got individuals who are looking at coming into our city. I keep hearing about housing. Oh, it is so thankful. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk.
Takes us to reports from the manager.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I do want to mention that the Light Up the City event that was being held on Ojibwe Island this Wednesday is canceled due to weather. It'll be rescheduled for August.
Again? Again?
And with that, I do want to also acknowledge and recognize the Saginaw Police Department and Saginaw Fire Department working the 4th of July fireworks, and also our law enforcement partners throughout the county that helped out, from our neighbors in BV to the Michigan State Police and the Saginaw County Sheriff's Office. We want to thank them for helping. And also, as Councilman Ostash mentioned, the Community Resources Fair, I want to thank the Planning and Economic Development and Inspections Department for putting that together and organizing it. With individuals talking today about some of the services in the city, we did have the Senate Majority Leader for the state Senate here today. Senator Brinks, Senator Rivette brought her to Saginaw, and I was able to tour some places in the city and show her what we have. And the topic of the tax cap came up. Senator Rivette asked me to do 3 minutes on the tax cap so that Senator Brinks could understand what we have in Saginaw. But the people who spoke tonight about parks, various services, that's all been impacted by the tax cap. Going back, and it really, a lot of people didn't take notice until we had to have a pretty significant impact on our public safety. When I started with the city, I think we had at least 105 police officers. Now we have around 60, and that's with adding over the past 10 years or so and having Covenant Hospital pay for about 5 or 6 of them. We had 67 firefighters. We have 39 now, 40 counting the chief. But lost in that is all of the other services that we did have. And kind of thinking about that and talking to the senators, you start to think about what we had in the city. STARS was a city department. The zoo was a city department. The event center was a city department. Saginaw Housing Commission was a city department. So all of these services had to be moved out of the city so that we could find different ways to fund them. And the way that we were able to have any services in the parks is really by the Adopt a Park program. And so we really have to thank the people that have stepped up with that. And I'll tell you, I think Ms. Boulware mentioned she wouldn't know what to do if she had the money. I guarantee you she'd know what to do if she had the money. She will not leave your office unless you buy her paint or donate something. She would know what to do with it, I'm sure. But when you think about the tax cap, when it comes up again, think about these services that we don't have anymore, that we can't afford to do, and public safety as well. And just thinking about the things that come up now, we had this reduction in firefighters that caused us to close the station. What that does ultimately is we have a review that the insurance companies do every, I think, about 10 years. They look at your fire safety, your ability to suppress fires, and that can have an impact on your insurance rates. So some of these things that you may not think about, all of these things are impacted by our ability to have revenue to operate the city. So encourage people to think about those things as we continue to talk about the tax cap. And I also want to thank the CAC. They hosted the U.S. Department of Treasury in the state of Michigan, discussed direct pay provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act. A lot of nonprofits in the city were able to attend that and learn more about it, so I want to thank the CAC for hosting that. Also want to mention that the City of Saginaw's Community Services Community Development Block Grant Division received 2 awards from the Department of Housing and Urban Development Detroit Office Director Keith Hernandez. The first award was for timely CDBG expenditures, and the award was presented to the City of Saginaw for the achievement in the timely expenditures of community development block grant funds for 5 years in a row. And the second was an individual award, a standing ovation to Kana Franklin. The award was presented to Kana for her years of meritorious service in the administration of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Community Development Block Grant Program. So congratulations to Kana and also the entire CDBG team. So great job by them. And we have a presentation this evening from STARS, who had some special services during the Memorial Cup, and Glenn Steffens is here to give us an update on these numbers and the services they offered, and I think it gives you a view into what potentially we could have if we had those services year-round.
Madam Mayor, before he starts, Manager, would we be able to give people time to step out if they need to step out?
Yes.
So we don't.
If you had waited, I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just sort of noise.
Anybody that feels a need to be warned and want to leave, we're going to give you a chance to go. And we thank you so much for coming, young people and young mothers.
Full house.
You know how to clear a room, Mr. Stephens.
Well, Madam Mayor, council members, city administration, and officials, thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to stop by. Always good to see you guys and let you know what STARS is doing. So before I start into the presentation, I did want to mention a couple things. One, hey, go Spirit, go Saginaw. Two, thank you very much for your allocation of $100,000 towards multiple bus shelters in this city. STARS is working with city administration on exactly like finalizing where and how they go in, as well as preparing our RFP bidding process. We anticipate that some of those shelters will be in this fall and the remainder in the spring. That's our current timeline for that. And that combined with also the work from the city engineering department as roads have been redone through the city over these past couple years. New bus pads out at bus stops that never had cement pads. That makes it way more accessible for wheelchairs and our residents to get around. Walking through the mud ain't fun, and I think one of the council members last time we met up mentioned that to me, and I wholeheartedly agree. So it's very encouraging to see the city invest in its infrastructure and transit through the city. And then lastly, also, I'll mention, again, thank you for your support in placing the STARS millage on the ballot again. We don't exist without it, and the city is the sole supporter of STARS from a local level. And that's the money that we levied towards matches from the federal and the state government. There is no STARS without the city contribution. Now, as far as the presentation here, you know, I talk a lot about vision in the city and where STARS, our role is, where we've fallen short in the past. In 3 days will mark 8 years that I've been running STARS. Mayor Moore, you mentioned the city being different even 4 years ago than today, and STARS was a completely different creature 8 years ago from today. And I think we're truly becoming a regional player, and the Memorial Cup and our partnership with the city, as well as others in the community, I think showed that. These numbers I'm going to talk about here today, you know, I could come in here and talk about the future of the city with the medical diamond coming in. With the need for countywide access and services and these needs that will be in the future. What these numbers tell us are what the needs are already right now, where we need to, at STARS, pick up, find the funding to meet these needs, because the numbers I'm about to show you are extremely compelling from our perspective. STARS broke records during these 10 days, and it wasn't because of Canadians, it was because of our residents that rode these buses. First, and you have these slides, I'm not going to go over everything in detail, but I got handouts to you, so if you have any questions on the deep data dive, let me know. You know I'm a numbers guy. As far as the Memorial Cup, we really had 3 modes of service that were going on. I'm going to really talk most about fixed route today, but I will mention we had a hotel shuttle loop. That was partially funded by Saginaw Township and the Kochville Township as well. This is the first time in my tenure at STARS that we've received a dime from Saginaw Township, and they put it forward without hesitation and helped us run that service. There were 4,300 passengers that rode between the hotels and the STARS downtown by the Dow every day, spread out. So that's 428 total trips of these shuttles. We had anywhere from 2 to 4 running at a time. The Spirit Riverfront Loop, funded by the Saginaw DDA, a continuing partnership there. Passengers, not as high performance there as we wanted, and I'm sure there have been many conversations amongst you guys, and we have had the same conversations at STARS. We've met with city officials, DSA, DDA, and we're working on how do we make sure that when we have events in town, that Old Town and downtown are a draw for the public so that those businesses can cash in. But one of our biggest goals from STARS' standpoint for the Memorial Cup was that we have this big event in town, and we want to make sure that our residents have the ability to access it. So we extended our hours until 11 o'clock every single night so that we could meet the end of the game. We opened up Saturdays until 11 p.m. when we normally close at 6 p.m. Sundays, we normally aren't open, and we were open from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. on Sundays. Keeping in mind also, these hotel shuttle and riverfront loops ran until 2:30 a.m. There was an access in this city that I don't know has ever existed, quite frankly. So to see over the 10-day total on our regular fixed route, 22,000 passengers. That's an average of over 2,000 passengers a day. Right now, we probably bank about 1,300 passengers a day. That's a huge difference. And these, again, are not Canadians. As far as our averages for fixed route on weekdays, we saw about 16,000 riders total during that period. Saturdays, about 3,500 riders, and Sundays, when people in the city aren't even used to the buses being open, we had 2,600 passengers over the course of both those Sundays. We ran some comparisons on other 10-day periods where there was a Monday holiday, like Memorial Day. If you look at Memorial Day for 2023, the same 10-day period, STARS had just under 12,000 riders. Last year, same week, 11,500 riders. This year, same 10-day period, nearly 28,000 riders. That is a 128% increase over what our normal averages are. That shows that when the system is open later hours, when it's open through the weekend, and it's actually conducive and convenient for your life, you're going to ride more. Now, I'll also mention we had free fares during this time, and you will see a ridership boost during that. We've run free fares before. I've never seen numbers like this. This city is thirsty for more service. That's what this tells me. An average month, you have fiscal year 22, 23, and 24, the first three columns, a 30-day period, and the Memorial Cup is the last column there. The Memorial Cup is well over half, it's 3/4 or more of these other month periods. In 10 days, we did 70% of what we do in a 30-day period through the course of a normal year. Here we are. Now, again, this is a 10 versus 7 days, okay? So here's average weeks in each of those fiscal years, but even with the 3 days, added on kind of pro rata and accounted for, this spike of over 26,000 riders, unheard of. We also wanted to break it down by these time periods to see what's going on for these, especially the late night hours, 9 to 11. Now, this is just about fixed route here, but you see 9 to 11 p.m. We had about 6-7% of our ridership taking during this time when we're normally closed. Keeping in mind, these services haven't existed in the long term, right? You build habits when a service is there. You don't see it's there for 10 days and adjust your whole life for it. That we saw this kind of response would tell me and suggest that we'll see a higher output if we had that program continue. We'd probably see that number climb for the evening hours. Now, Saturday, we saw about the same distribution, about 5 to 7% from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Keep in mind, one Saturday had no game, and there was a game on the other Saturday. So we did have lighter commerce in the city. Looking at Sundays now, this one really got me. 9 to 11 p.m., 12% on Sunday nights. We had people traveling around after 9 p.m. on Sunday nights, the day when we're not even normally open. And again, you saw a pretty good use of the system throughout the day, and of course 12 to kind of 9 p.m. are our peak periods. We also did some survey information with our passengers, about 200 or 300 riders on the plaza where it was taken online, and this was within days after the event. I'm not going to go through all the survey responses and everything with you, but look at it and you'll see that there's some common themes. And the common themes, I'm seeing this. We want more frequent services. We really liked that riverfront loop that ran every 15 minutes on Michigan and Washington. Why can't you guys do something like that more often? We would like to see additional services out to the townships. We would like to see, free fares came up a lot, right? And so, we're seeing that desire for regional connectivity. We're seeing people say, even during these 10 days, it was easier for me to work my job because I could get a ride home at the end of the day. And as far as the survey respondents too, we had about 75% that were city riders, but also we have about 25% that are township riders. So I should mention that as well. Again, a bunch of different statistics. But we also saw, with regard to use of these shuttles, we didn't really get negative comments back on anything. Either people said it was great, it was okay, or nothing. Any survey we've ever done on public satisfaction or anything with our system prior to this survey included a lot of negative comments in the past, and we tried to address those. There wasn't much for us to be able to address here. But we did see here to this question, and this is city residents, again, that ride our system. Would you like to see STARS run more special event routes in the future? 93% of our respondents said yes. When we do a deep dive into these numbers, again, these were not Canadians using the regular route system. We did not have Canadians leaving the Dow and traveling around the east side on our routes. Those were city residents. If we could find a way to find the revenue, and really this is a state-level question in the immediate term, and that's why we're hoping to see the SOAR Act pass in Lansing, because that will fund transit a lot more. The city millage is, we mentioned, back up, and that's at 3.2 mils. And that's, you don't want to go higher than that, right? Our next course of action and my plans and what I'd like to share with you today are that in 2026, we want to see STARS be a county-wide authority at that point. We want to transfer over from the city millage over into a new county millage and have regional routes. There's a path to that. We hope we have your support. Please reach out to your counterparts on the county commission as well and let them know if you do support that. But STARS can do so much better if we look at this from a county-wide perspective. I hope that your support continues for us into this fall and over the next couple of years. And then, again, hopefully in 26, we're passing a county-wide millage, and in 27, we're rolling out a real county-wide transit system that the people in the city of Saginaw, as well as the residents of the county of Saginaw, all deserve. So unless you have any other questions, I believe that'll do me for today.
Any questions? Yes.
How were you able to determine that it was not Canadians and it was city residents?
One, by which routes were used at which times. Where do the routes service? So some of it's common sense, like where does it go? If it's just a residential route, there's no reason for a tourist to come downtown and ride that around. We know, based on our data from our passenger counters on our buses, where people board at different stops, and we can do very deep data dives into that to try to figure out probably what were they doing. But also, we were standing at the station and we could see the Canadians coming off the hotel shuttles and where they'd go next. So all of that put together, we had a pretty good idea of what was going on. And we heard a lot of positive feedback from our riders. They don't get that excited unless there was actually something good that they were able to use.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much for your presentation. And myself, along with a couple of other council persons, were able to sit down and meet with you guys and ride the bus. One of our council people said it was their first time ever riding the bus. I am real positive in regards to the things I'm seeing as far as STARS is concerned in the past several years. I ride the bus sometimes. I probably need to ride it more. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. I see a difference, and it matters in the neighborhoods. It matters with your staff and how they treat the riders. And I so many people I talk to and post on Facebook in regards to the free rides. It was just awesome. It was awesome. You guys stood up to the plate for the Memorial Cup. It was just awesome. It was really awesome, and I just want to thank you so much. And I would also like to know when you're going to be doing those free rides again. But
I can't tell you right away that on August 6th, Election Day in Saginaw, if there's an election in the city, you guys know me, it's always free ride day in Saginaw. So August 6th is our next free ride day.
Okay, and I also would be more likely than not one of the council people that would support countywide. Be awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Mayor. Me too, and we've had a lot of conversations. I'm a numbers guy, so this was fascinating data to see that happened within 10 days. I too support the countywide. We've talked about that before. So yes, I'm another council member that would support that. But also looking at that, let's say the hypotheticals, let's say that happens. And let's say you get the Potter Street station, that all goes through. With that new facility, would we have that capacity down there, Glenn, to have that kind of capacity for the county, or would you see like some other satellite locations?
So a few years ago, when we started looking at the Potter Street property,
Yeah.
it was mainly talking about my garage being too full for the city services, right? That was before we had conversations in this city and in this room about the medical diamond. That's before we started having conversations about a countywide. When we planned out our specs for the Potter Street situation, we looked forward like 10 to 20 years, assuming we'd be a countywide authority at that time. The Potter Street station plans that we put in place would satisfy that. And the way I look at it now, it's more than a wish. Now it's a necessity. If STARS doesn't expand over there, we won't be able to physically grow to meet county needs. We won't be able to grow to develop programs with the DDA and businesses and the Temple Theater and the Dow on event shuttles and these different types of things, because we just won't have the capacity.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make a comment.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for all your hard work and dedication for STARS. I was a first-time rider, and I really did enjoy it. Just learning about the different places, and I know we talked about kind of being in the grass, and I'm like, how can people utilize it that are in wheelchairs? So you guys do accommodate them and do go up, and I appreciate that, because I was in a wheelchair for 4 months, and I know the barriers that I had to go sometimes just to go to the bathroom. And I'm a younger person, and I'm just thinking, like, what about my elderly seniors that are maybe in this weather that's bad, a blizzard, and they want to go home or go to the grocery store to get something, and they can't just go right on the grass with their wheelchair. So you guys are accommodating them and helping them so that they're still able to use it, because transportation has always been a barrier anywhere you go, regardless. I've been in social work for over 15 years, and I know the struggle. So having this bus system, the buses are nice. And like I mentioned, I would like to just ride on the buses and just talk to some of our citizens in the community and find out, like, hey, what's going on? Why do you ride the bus? Just feedback, just, you know, because everybody has a story to tell. And just to, you know, get to know who's out there and what they got going on. But Wi-Fi would be great too, because I probably would ride the bus and not want to get off if I get the free Wi-Fi. But
And we always get Wi-Fi requests on our service.
yeah, and I can imagine, like, if I'm a college student and I didn't, you know, do my homework right away, I might want to do it while I'm on the bus, you know? So, I mean, everybody has a reasoning for the Wi-Fi, but, yeah, just great services. And then today I got to do the STARS Spotlight, so I'm excited to see that come out. And, you know, and I didn't realize that today when I talked to Jamie that they can catch the bus route right there, and they drop them right off, and the kids get to ride for free, from my understanding. And I'm like, wow, so just advertising and marketing that alone, like, you know, that they don't have to pay for their kids, I mean, is great, you know, because today's economy, the gas, it's going up or down, you know? So it's a really good resource to have if you're not able to have a car, or, you know, the upkeep of a car is just as much. So, yep, thank you guys, and good job, and keep up the good work.
And if I might speak to that for one quick second, Mayor, regarding disabilities, you know, I find that a lot of people who have some type of injury that's short-term are not aware that STARS Lift has wheelchair accessible vehicles, will pick you up from the curb and take you to another place. There are parents of disabled children in town that don't understand that for only $2, we can transport their child to wherever they need in the city, in our area. So I'm glad you brought that up, so hopefully some people are listening saying, hey, you know what, maybe we can do that, and it takes some burden off the family.
Yes.
Thank
Councilman
you.
Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. STARS has done some pilot programs in the past for later night transitions between the city and the township. Have you kind of seen an increase in the data with these numbers versus what you've done in the past with like connections with SVSU or?
It's a tough question to answer, because what we've done in the past is so different from today.
Mm-hmm.
We did not have the reputation, we did not have the materials, we did not have the manpower, we didn't even have a functioning administration, quite frankly, that could match. So it is kind of apples and oranges to try to compare then and now. But what I can tell you is, you know, we're looking at this data and we're saying, how can we radically rethink, you know, in using the resources we have? We don't have the funding to run these types of hours that we ran during the Cup. This was the mother of pilot projects for us. This was an ultimate science experiment from both a business access point and also for residents' use of the system. And so what we've done now is we've proven the thirst is there, the need is there, people will ride it. Now, you know, I'm going to turn to Lansing and say, we need the funding so we can support this type of system. We can turn to the county and say, we need the funding so we can support this type of system, not only for the city riders, but the 20 to 30% of Saginaw Township and other township riders who use the system currently too. And we've seen more support, I think, from residents in the townships, and that's why I'm optimistic. If you asked me 8 years ago if we could go in a couple years and think about doing a countywide ballot, well, I wasn't here in 2010 or 12 when the last time that was attempted, but it sounds like it went terrible. This time, it sounds like I think we might have the support.
Yeah, I was on Student Association back in, I think, 2018.
So you probably worked with on the SVSU Nightline pilot.
Yeah.
And that was to try to get the college kids out to Old Town. We got some out, we even tried to give away free iPads to pull those kids out, but we just couldn't draw it.
Yeah.
We just couldn't draw, and the program ended up ceasing. But that was funded by the students themselves and SVSU.
Yeah. Well, great. It's great to see the turnaround here.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
have you had any conversation with the new plant that's coming out in Hemlock? I heard they paying a lot of employees out there, and hopefully, since they're using Saginaw's water, hoping to get some people employed out there from the city of Saginaw. Have you had any conversation with them yet?
Yes, I met with their project manager either just at the beginning of last week or the end of the week prior. And we've already started conversations about when they have their project being built and they have to bring in engineers and who's going to shuttle them around when they come in from China. When the plant actually starts up, what type of services are available. STARS already runs a bus out to Hemlock Semiconductor. If you know people that are looking for work and looking for opportunity, please let them know. They can apply out there. And that ride happens 7 days a week, twice a day from STARS. We might be able to see some of these businesses consolidate and fund together. When we do these types of projects, we don't do them for free, right? Maybe they pull together and we're servicing a few businesses. But Corning has reached out to us and we're already in talks and we'll be taking care of that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? As usual, thank you, Glenn. I was hoping you would have talked about some of the senior services. You talked about the list, but you got door-to-door curb service at the door.
Yes, so Lyft does qualify if you're a senior 60 or over. STARS Lyft also the $2 door to door. But also if you're 60 or over, you can apply for a half fare card, or you just show your ID and your birth date, and it's a 50-cent ride instead of $1 on the bus. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Glenn, and that concludes the management update.
Do we have any questions for the city manager? Yes.
Thank you so very much. I have a few questions, so hopefully they can go pretty quick. I actually want to speak on, one thing is in regards to the marijuana establishment. And as you know, we've conversated back and forth, communicated back and forth in regards to that. I can't even say the word what I am, because every marijuana grower is on the east side of Saginaw. I did, like I said, I did speak with you in regards to the notices that were supposed to go out. I'm not saying they didn't go out or they didn't reach certain people, but none of the people that I spoke to in that area received notices. This is what I was told. And to have a center like Community Action Center, and right next door is a marijuana grower, is, I don't know, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I'm here to have sense made of it. You have residents in the area. None of the employees that work at CAC, none of them knew anything about this coming right next door to them. So,
Manager
yes.
If I could speak to that, being a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay.
This vote that took place was about a year ago. And I wasn't able to be at, I don't believe I was able to be at that particular meeting, but there were some religious leaders who had asked for support to be there, and he did not get the support from other religious leaders that were going to be there to support him. There were questions regarding the schools, and that was one of the big things.
I wasn't quite finished, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure just
Okay.
in regards to this, because I also went and shared with Mr. Coleman that in this whole process, everything when it comes down to the Zoning Board of Appeals, if we want to stay in line with what, not we, but what City Council and our residents voted for and approved. Sitting on that commission, I have my own personal opinions, but by what the City of Saginaw approved, we as the Zoning Board of Appeals have only a few options on how we could deny something, and if it does not go against our provisions for denials, we can say no, but then we open up ourselves to lawsuits. So in this particular situation, that was a major concern. The information went out. One of the things that I would even have a conversation about, is, do we extend that perimeter when it comes down to people who are notified? Because we have blighted areas in our community that where in that distance, it could be only 10 homes. But by what we approved, well, I'm saying we because we are council now, but by what was approved and not just approved by council, but also voted on by the citizens of the city of Saginaw, that is what we as a Zoning Board of Appeals have to adhere to. And that vote did take place about a year ago.
Okay.
And that vote also was voted down. And I'm still trying to figure out where they saying the building, I know the building next door too.
No, that was approved.
Yeah. Building.
That warehouse that they want to come in, and that was approved. They brought up the conversation about it being in a school, because when asked about that, our colleagues in the school district, they did not say that they had any plans. So if the school board planned to have used that school and for another school, open it back up, that would have been grounds. But when we got correspondence, there were no plans to open that school back up. One of the pastors that also wanted to use that particular school for a community center did not have the approval and the support from the school district for him to use it. So that ground as well, you cannot stand on that as well. So based on what was provided by what our rulings, that had to be approved, and it was approved.
Okay.
And attorney, please correct me if I did say anything.
No, Councilmember Copeland, you covered that quite well. It was also approved at the Planning Commission level. There would have been notices issued in regards to both meetings and hearings, and it was approved by both boards.
Okay, thank you so much. I can finish. If you have residents, and thank you for your information and whomever else, but my concern again is that several, not one person that I spoke to said they got the information. Now, I did get the information from city manager in regards to the meeting, and you had several people, 3 people that spoke against it. So let me ask, this will be one of my questions. If you're going to do something and you ask the citizens, if they want this, if they don't, and they come and say that they don't, what's the sense in having citizen input if we're going to do it anyway? And when this was approved by the Planning Commission, none of them lived around over here. So I have a problem with that, and I'd like to get some information in regards to that, some more information. If it's something you have to give me later, I'm open to getting that information later. So what is the reason in asking the citizens for their input, and what happened to all these citizens that said they did not receive the information? Something is falling somewhere.
And if I can, Councilman Lamar Sylvia, I understand exactly where you're coming from. But one of the things I have to come to when it comes down to those particular committees is, and as we said it as council members, we have ordinances and resolutions that we have to adhere to. And if we want to change those, we can take that to our elections. We can bring ourselves, we can bring resolutions up to amend ordinances, but that is where it's gonna have to happen, because those committees are only going off of what we and the citizens of our community voted on. And so even if our personal opinions, but that's where it has to go. And I will say, when it comes down to that planning commission, the planning commission, when the community shows up, they are really listening. And I know Councilman Ostash and Mayor Moore can speak to the planning commission, but when it comes to me as the zoning board of appeals, it's due to an appeal that came from the planning commission, and that's where. And so on my area, I know for sure, if it don't fall in the lines of this area, I can vote no, but if that thing votes down, I open up the city of Saginaw to lawsuits because I voted against.
For voting against it?
For, if it is approved.
So why have a vote?
You can easily, I could still vote, but my vote, I have to say why I voted against it. And so for myself, what I always make sure is if it doesn't align with those 4 areas, I'm going to vote for it because that is the law. That is what our citizens voted for. My personal opinions aside, but that's what our citizens voted for, and that's why you have to vote for it.
So it was voted on to have a marijuana grower in that area. I just want to get that information.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All these things came before our planning commission and then the zoning board of appeals. If someone can correct me, is it 500 feet?
300.
300.
So it's 300 feet. And when we look at that particular area for 300
More than
feet,
300.
the question is, well, how many homes or businesses?
Supposed to have been 30.
And so with that, a lot of times I heard from other citizens who could have been like a block over. But based on what our rulings is, which is 300 feet, we as a city did what we were supposed to do. But then we can, as council members, make resolutions, say, okay, we don't want to do 300 feet anymore. We want to do 500 feet now because we want to reach more people.
And I understand that.
That also, I just wanted to add, because
Okay.
Copeland said it, our resolutions and ordinances, that's in the state law as well, the notification.
So something is missing. And we could, I don't want to keep this going because I have a few other questions. But if you say you sent out 30, and I will emphasize, I'm not saying that didn't happen. Something missing somewhere if you have several citizens in that area that's saying they didn't get this information.
So
Isn't that part of the ordinance too, that they have to get this information?
Yep, we send it out from the city. It is sent out to their address. 300 feet, you're going to get, I don't even know the color. It's like pink or, sometimes they put it on a different color so you can actually.
Yeah.
So I thought, from my understanding, it was letters, from my understanding from the city manager, it was letters that went out, not a tag.
Oh, no, it's not a tag.
Okay.
No, ma'am, it's not a tag.
And just keep in mind, think of what the 300 feet is. It's not that big of a distance.
Right.
So, and another point I would make, in the 300 feet for that, I think, I'm gonna guess, but the largest property holder in that 300 feet was the land bank and the city and the railroad. But we notice ourselves, but that's, a lot of those properties were owned by the land bank or the city or the railroad. And as Councilman Copeland said, that was over a year ago. So memories, sometimes you don't remember everything you get from the city too.
Okay, thank you very much. Is this 2 at a time?
Yes, you know it is, 2 at a
Okay, so
time.
once I get my 2, then you come back to me, okay. My next question, or it'll be a question. We were talking back and forth, and I didn't get any, my last communication was that I needed to fill out a FOIA request in regards to ordinance 117.04 that requires every business in the city of Saginaw to have surveillance equipment inside and outside of their facility. I wanted a list, and the reason I'm so adamant about this is because several of our young people were killed in and around party stores and others. We have a lot of activity on Holland and Genesee at a gas station. But it always is something come up, we can't see who, what, where, why, when. But if this ordinance, and I know we have a lot of ordinances, believe me, I've been looking through the book. But if some ordinance, we need to start making these people adhere to these ordinances. There's no reason why that particular ordinance is not being dealt with. Because a lot of times they say, well, their equipment wasn't working, they didn't have it, et cetera, et cetera. I asked for a list of the businesses that had adhered to that and had to turn this information in to the clerk's office. I didn't understand why I need a FOIA for that, because that should be public information, but I will fill out a FOIA request if I have to. But I want to know why I need a FOIA request for something like that, that should be public knowledge, and these people need to start being mandated to have these cameras and this surveillance equipment working.
Okay, so let's go to the initial issue, because we do inspect those.
No.
Agency, the Saginaw Police Department goes out and inspects the cameras. I'll ask the chief to come up, but I believe it's annually. And when we first put the ordinance in place, everyone went in and
Every winter, we inspect the cameras. Every winter, we do inspect the cameras. Police officers do once a year. It's usually in February and March. And we make sure that the businesses have those. Per the ordinance, not every business has to have a camera. It's if they're open at night hours, if they deal with money, if they sell alcohol, marijuana, obviously under the marijuana license. Those are the parameters. Not every single license, not every single business has to have one, per the ordinance. The events that we've had in the last, let's say 6 to 7 months, just since the beginning of the year, more than half of those events have occurred at party stores. And every single one of them are caught on film. Every single one. And you will hear in the news very quickly when people start getting arrested. And when the prosecutors take these cases into court, and all they do is hit the play button on that video, and these people see what they did is on film, there's going to be some consequences for their actions. Believe me. The cameras are working, they are up and running, and we got video.
Okay, so you just said something, and I'm looking at the ordinance, and it says every business establishment in the city is hereby required to install a video surveillance system, period. Video surveillance system shall be maintained in proper working order at all times, shall be in operation at all times the establishment is open to customers, and shall meet the minimum technology standards established in this chapter or by resolution of city council. So is what
That's
you
one-
said an update?
Yes, that is one paragraph within that entire ordinance. The city attorney can answer this better. There is a section in there that defines which businesses have
Correct.
cameras.
If you look at section 117.02, which is the definition sections of that ordinance, it specifically defines business establishment, and that definition specifically details what established businesses this ordinance applies to.
Did you say 117.02 or
117.02.
Okay, well, this was information I asked from the city manager, and this is what I got. I didn't get anything in regards to .02, but I'm willing to look at that. I just want to make sure that we have this particular ordinance, it is being adhered to, you know, in every business, you know, not just party stores or anything. Every business should have that if that's the ordinance. Thank you so very much.
If we run across a business, in the last 5 years, we've had maybe 1 or 2 that something happened and they didn't have their cameras. There are repercussions for those actions of not having a camera working.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Do we have any questions on this end? Are you done?
No.
One more. I'm sorry, Councilman Walls.
Yeah, I got a question. The fireworks, I normally, city council is normally invited to the fireworks. I was wondering, did it happen this year?
Yeah.
I didn't get the notice. This action.
Normally what happens is that we all just know what happens if we all show up.
No, that sounds like some bull to me.
No.
No, I normally get a notice. Somebody asked me how many tickets I want or something like that. I'm coming up. I didn't get anything. I'm just letting you know I didn't get a notice. Did you get a notice? Did you get a notice?
No.
I didn't get a notice.
I didn't
haven't
get a
got
notice either.
But we'll check into it and make sure you get it.
Was you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Just action.
Yeah, because I went to raise the flag.
All right, just action.
So we'll make sure that you get some documentation, some information from now.
Just wanted to know
Please
that's
check
all.
your mailboxes too.
I did.
And your tablets, because sometimes it's an email that slips through our nose. Yes, Councilman Williams.
To Councilwoman's remarks or questions. From a law enforcement standpoint, and I know people have concerns about marijuana facilities, but your second point was the party stores. That is our major concern in our city, is the party stores. We don't have people hanging out around the marijuana facilities like they are at party stores. Legally, from a law enforcement standpoint, we have far more issues with alcohol than we do with marijuana. And again, I respect everyone's opinion in regards to how they feel about marijuana. But when it comes down to what we have to deal with, we deal with alcohol-related issues far more, and they're far more dangerous than as of up to this point. No telling what the future holds, but we haven't had those types of issues at marijuana facilities, but we definitely obviously have them at party stores where they sell alcohol.
But my thing, Councilman, thank you very much, was in regard to a grower right in the neighborhood. So I will agree with you with that. They don't hang out at the marijuana place. But I have two more.
You said one more. Yes.
Just real quick, Councilwoman, I also have a grow facility in my neighborhood. It's 4 blocks away. They took over the old self-service, and we don't have any issues at all. But
Thank you very much. Okay, two quick ones. Okay, yeah, it depends on how long it takes for the answer. I would also, a lot of young people and a lot of, I call everybody young, people came and spoke in regards to urine. I'd like to maybe get some sort of update in regards to that. I've talked to a couple people, et cetera, so I'd just like to get an update. I know we've been going back and forth, et cetera, but I just like to know, are these young people getting ready to go to work? Is they, whatever's going on? And if we have to have another meeting or something like that, I can understand that. And then my other one, since y'all are trying to act like I'm talking too much, no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I know you was.
No, there's information, myself and Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Tem, I had asked for some information in regards to parking, and a few weeks ago, I was in that meeting, and I learned a lot of stuff in regards to parking ordinances, and I talked to several people, and I was like, you cannot get upset with our parking people that have to go out and give you tickets. They're just doing their job, but I wanted to know if you could elaborate a little bit in regards to that, or someone could elaborate just a little bit, because there are, you can get like approval, so to speak, to park on city streets during those particular hours, but there is a process, but you don't always have to get a ticket if you do it correctly. Can you just elaborate a little bit in regards to that, those two things, please? Thank you so very much. I think I'm done.
Yeah, so you just want a quick briefing about the parking?
Yeah, in regards to the, being able to, what is the word?
Well, you can have a variance, so you can
Yeah,
park
in
on
regards
the-
to parking on your yard or in the, on after hours.
I don't know if there is one for parking on the yard, but you can get a permit to park on the street for various situations. whether it's if you're having work done at your house or different situations like that where you have to park on the street, you can go to the city engineering department and get a permit to do that. I think it's free. Is that right, Beth? Yes. So it's free to do that. So always call engineering and check with stuff like that. And I think those meetings went really well, and that some things come up that I know they communicated with you, Councilwoman, that some things I didn't think of either about, okay, why do you keep the sidewalk clear? Because of some of the things we talked about, people in wheelchairs and disabilities and kids on bikes. So I think that went really well. But if you have anyone has questions about parking, they can always call the manager's office, and we can help put them in touch with whoever in engineering if you need permits or have questions about that. There's different things you can do. If you look on Mason Street, where Councilman Flores is, there's paved cutouts that you can do if you can't park on the street. And we often, with that project in particular, worked with the residents on that street, because remember that was federal funding, so you're not allowed to park on the street. So we worked with residents there to make those changes. So there's always different things that we can do like that. So that brings up, when you talked about getting notices, we often have, or not often, but we always have these sessions where we talk about the streets. We have a public meeting, and many times when we have those, I'll walk by and I see Beth or Travis sitting in here by themselves. So when those notices come out, make sure that you encourage people to come and learn about that. So if there is different things or where we can help make accommodations, that people can learn about that.
Thank you. And also, I think we was mentioned, Ms. Zimmerman.
Excuse me.
I'm not finished with this.
You get another question.
In regards to, no, this same, this part B.
On the clock.
You can also, that's fine, you can also park in the yard, you know, where they, on the grass, but you can put gravel or something like that. That's why I just wanted to let our citizens know it is ways that they can do this correctly. So,
That's right.
yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Manager, and thank you, Councilwoman Silver.
You're so welcome.
Madam Clerk.
Takes us to the consent agenda.
The agenda has been available at City Hall and on the city webpage and on SGTV Channel 191. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, leaving room for exceptions.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Do I have any exceptions?
Thank you, Mayor. Number 24 and 25.
Mine will, 10 and 16.
16. So we have exceptions for 10, 16, 24, and 25. Yes.
15.
15. So we added 15. So we've got 10, 15, 16, 24, and 25. Is there any more exceptions? Hearing no more exceptions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Madam Clerk.
I'm just going to go in order here, Mayor. Number 10 is approve the memorandum of agreement with HELP Community Violence Intervention Program for the Police Department. That was Councilmember Copeland.
Yes, my just quick question is just an overview of that partnership. I think at our last meeting, you've talked about some of the opportunities that you all were doing. I think that instead of us just passing it, it needs to be public that you guys are going in power.
I kept, hard time hearing.
At our last couple of meetings, we've been talking about, you know, your partnerships and the engagement. I think instead of us just passing it, just say something about what this is actually gonna look like for our community.
Yeah, this is, we can't police the way we used to. As I talked at the last meeting I spoke at, we have to change what we do. We have to partner with the community. And that's what we're doing with this, is we're using the Community Violence Intervention Program through HELP, where that organization, which a lot of members of City Council belong on, that will help us mentor the youth to try to get them off of the guns, off of the gang violence, away from that activity. We have to have programs and people to teach the kids the value of human life. That's what we're missing right now. Totally missing it. And this is happening at a young age. So if help can do an intervention at a younger age, bring them back to the right side, give them some respect of their own parents. A lot of these kids, when they hit 15, 16 years old, they don't respect their parent. They don't respect their clergy. How do you expect them to have any respect for the authority of the police or a school teacher, principal at a school, any authority? And hopefully, this program will help us. We see that. And that's why we have to interact with groups like this. We have to.
Thank you.
Can I just say this? The help group is not just the only group. They have began to branch out to ask other groups if they'd like to be involved. It's not a one-man show. It's not a one-person show. We are still into collaborating. We just have to get together with Chief, and we all sit down and come up with another plan. It never was designed to come in and take over.
It's just to help us.
It's to help. That's what it means.
That's what it's all about.
Help.
I motion, I love this idea. I just wanted it to be public, but I motion to approve council communication 10.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, just under the discussion part for Councilman Copeland, HELP has also approached the school systems, and they've actually attended their meeting, so they're also, HELP has also went to the school board as well, because they want to have a program like working with our police. They also want to get into the schools. So, that's it.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to point out, part of the program as well is that it's just not for youth, right? It's for at-risk individuals. The majority of those that were murdered this last month were over the age of 27, right? From 29 to 30. And so hopefully folks will be able to utilize these, not just for youth, but for folks that are at risk as well. That's it. Thank you.
It's been moved and second. Yes.
I got a question too for the chief. Thank you for help us. But are you familiar with Swanson's, Sheriff Swanson's program, where they helping out the mentoring the prisoners, guys that have been locked up, and they have a mentoring program?
Yes.
The guys that are locked up.
We have a program like that up here similar that I think you're going to look at on the agenda here pretty soon, before the end of this meeting. Bishop Holden's sitting right behind me. He's the person that runs the program. I've worked with Bishop Holden for years.
Already touched him.
Okay. So you know that that's a pretty good program when you can help mentor the guys that are locked up when they get out and mentor their children at the same time.
I do.
And I think that will help out our community too, and I'm sure you probably think so too, so thank you.
Yes, the mayor mentioned it. It's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
It's just
There isn't one thing that's going to resolve everybody's problems. You got to have a big puzzle, a lot of pieces to make it happen.
I'm not familiar with all this mentoring stuff, so thank you so much.
You're part of help.
That was a joke.
It's been moved and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 15 is to approve the purchase with the Village of Cambridge, New York for $40,000 for a 2001 Pierce walk-around rescue vehicle, and with Falzone Towing Service Incorporated for $3,800 for the transport of the vehicle for the fire department. That was Councilmember Sylvia.
Thank you. I just wanted to get some clarification on two things. The rescue vehicle is a 2001 vehicle?
That's correct.
Do they have any more updated?
If you'd like to pay for it.
I know I wouldn't like to pay for it, but if you can tell me if they have any more updated ones, that would be fine.
Yes, so the reason for this, it was a unique way to answer a problem that we have. The problem we have is that the current vehicle is a 1998 Ford with about 79,000 miles on it. And this team, so this vehicle houses equipment for the Special Operations Team, which is hazardous materials, rope rescue, trench rescue. So things that don't happen very often, this rig usually goes out to about 10 calls annually, but they're very high-risk calls. And so very specialized equipment, additional training. And a new vehicle for what we would need would be about $1 million, anywhere from $900,000 to $1 million. And so it's hard for me to justify that. We have other needs that we need as well. And so when we identified this vehicle, yes, it is old, it's a 2001, but the key is that it only has 15,000 miles and only 720 engine hours. That amount of engine hours, one of our frontline fire engines would put on in a year. So this vehicle is very, very lightly used, and it's basically just a big toolbox housing all the special equipment. So that was the purpose. We were trying to be as fiscally responsible as possible.
Thank you. Also, the other part to that would be, just for information, the towing aspect for 3,800,
Yes.
that was the best. Was that like a bid or something, or was that the best for, for that particular project?
Yeah, so we work with Bill Georges, Mike's wrecker a lot, and so I reached out to him because he is obviously an expert in this realm. And within the towing community, they have and I'm misspeaking a little because I'm not in that realm, but they have these organizations. He's part of an organization where he can put out these jobs and basically get bids in return. And so Bill was going to be over $5,000 to go out and bring it back. He was able to identify Falzone Towing to do it for $3,800, which was the cheapest he received.
Motion to accept agenda item number 15.
Second.
It's been moved to second. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 16 is to approve the agreement with Consumers Energy for $8,810,000 for engineering services for the relocation of the aerial electric sub-transmission and distribution facilities to underground in preparation for the Medical Diamond Project. Further, approve the city manager and/or his designee to sign all required documents. That was Councilman Copeland.
Manager Morales, my quick question is this, anything to do with ARPA dollars, or are we clear?
This is all federal appropriation and state appropriation.
Thank you so much. I would like to approve agenda item 16.
Second.
It's been moved to second. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Item number 24 is to approve the blanket purchase with specified vendors for $394,500 for local fleet parts and supplies for the Public Services Department Motor Pool Division. That was Councilmember Copeland, Flores, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. Just for clarification for 24 and 25, these cost amounts are going to each individual vendor. Are they still able to do price quotes on the lowest and best vendor for each item, or how would that system kind of work if there's a locked-in amount?
In general, that would be correct, but sometimes it has to go to the company that can supply the part based on who manufactured the facility or the vehicle. Does that make any sense?
It's starting to, yeah.
And we're talking about 24, that's for parts and supplies. So our mechanics do the repairs. And so yes, we'll price quote it as long as there's multiple vendors that can provide that. And we may not spend all of that money that's designated for each vendor. It just depends, and they sometimes are raised and sometimes are lowered throughout the year.
So these costs won't be actual, they'll fluctuate depending on the need of the department and then the ability for them to produce the equipment or the service.
Yeah, the idea is to get the equipment back in working order as fast as they can.
Yeah, okay.
So, 2 trash trucks down, we'll be picking up yard waste with a pickup truck, or a mini dump, or a rear load packer truck. So, yeah.
That's helpful. I thought these were just going to be locked in, and that's the amount, so it would kind of hinder their ability to bid on it.
No, they'll quote it, and then we'll buy the part from the lowest vendor, or the vendor that can provide it, and the rest of the money will stay on that purchase order.
Okay. All right, thank
Does that
you.
make sense? Thank you.
Yep, so motion to approve item number 24 and 25.
Second. It's been moved to second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
That takes us to board, commission, and committee reports.
I need a motion to approve.
Under reports, ma'am.
Huh?
The reports for
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have any boards or commission reports? Yes.
Just real quick, at the last planning commission meeting for the council and the public watching, 303 Adams is a project down in Old Town. It's close to a $5 million RAP grant, but that site plan review was approved by the planning commission, so that project is moving forward again. And that is, I think it's a 5-story building, first floor is commercial, somewhere around 40-some thousand square feet with residential living. That's all I have.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk.
That takes us to appointment of board, commission, and committee members.
I need a motion to approve 1 and 2, leaving room for exception. So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and support. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Takes us to unfinished business.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. So a motion to adopt a resolution allocating ARPA funds to the Saginaw Community Foundation for the benefit of and as fiduciary for TD Holding Jail and Prison Ministries Incorporated in the amount of $740,000 for eligible programming or capital expenses for the Come Out, Stay Out Workforce Development Program.
Second. Any discussion?
Yes. You go ahead.
Yes.
Did this go through the portal?
No, it did not. That was discussed at the last meeting.
The one I wasn't at. Thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Copeland.
Okay, well, I got 2 questions I already, and I think Councilman Boss is going to be able to answer them. And the city. Now, in regards to the partnership, I did request their, this organization that is going to be their partners, what their specific roles will be in this partnership. But then also, because both of these are startups, and at the last meeting, we said we got into August with them. And if Guidehouse's contract were not renewed, would we be open to possibly creating 3 positions to actually help manage this? Or how would we manage a new startup program if Guidehouse's contract is not renewed?
You mean for monitoring?
For monitoring.
Yeah, I don't think we would be able to add staff to do something like that within the city, just to be able to hire, maintain, and pay the type of wages that we would need.
And then the partnership, what is this new organization, what is their role in this? Because we're making the check out to Bishop Holden, but no time for that organization.
All of that was in your package.
I know, and that's why I asked, because that answer wasn't.
So both of the organizations are just listed as partner agencies in the budget. The roles aren't really clearly defined. They're just working in partnership.
And that's what I wanted, that's why I wanted to get to. I wanted to make sure, because I haven't seen this other organization before. If someone is present from that organization, I would like to know who they are. So when we see them come and present to us as a partnership, I would know who they are. And is that perfect? Thank you. You all come on. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make it clear that, Bishop Holden, you already know I support
you, but what I'm confused on is how is it up for allocation when it didn't go through the portal? That's, and this is going back to what I said earlier, as far as policies, procedures, rules, regulations. That's the issue that I have, especially when we have other organizations that have been through and requested, and we're putting them on a back burner and having someone jump over. This is about, I'm coming from a point of fairness and proper perspective.
I've been saying that all the time, that even though it's not, it is. It's called transparency. Most people did go through the portal. And so it's difficult. We've got one group that's saying, we're ready to start back to working. We've got other groups saying that we've given money to, we need more money. And then we come in and we say, okay, I support get out, stay out to the fullest. But it's just the way that we're doing this that I said, and I voice this every time we talk about it. It's not that I'm against it, I'm for it. But it's just the way that we're doing it. It's like we're two-faced. I'm not two-faced.
Right.
I'm transparent. Yes.
I too want to clarify, I have no problem with Come Out, Stay Out. I think it's a wonderful program, but my concern, I mean, I stated them at the last meeting about, we have a contract that we haven't renewed with Guidehouse. If we do more programming, we, need to attach that, I think, to any further programming, like the cost of what that's going to incur. But, I mean, really primarily the fact that it didn't go through the portal. And I did go back through the portal again over the last 3 weeks. I counted about 13 other proposals that we haven't even discussed that are workforce development related that did go through the portal. And that's where I have an issue. That's where my concern lies, is that we're not being consistent. It is fair to say that that's a policy that the council set, but we've held firm to that policy for everybody else. And there's other people in that portal that didn't get the consideration that Come Out, Stay Out is getting right now. And I have to answer to those people as well, because I heard from several people who were frustrated because we haven't once mentioned their project. We have a lady who was here is asking for $60,000 in capital. We never looked at her proposal, and she, deals in workforce development. So that's where my issue is.
Yes.
And so for me, because I enjoy this program, but okay, now that they have a partner who was in the portal, and that's really where I needed clarifying information, because if we are to use this organization that was already in our portal, I'm looking for their name to be tied on something as well, because if we're now saying that is because they were in the portal, that's where the partnership is, and that's why, there's this agreement, that's where my questions earlier were, hey, can I see their name out front a little bit more if we are saying because Get Out, Stay Out wasn't in the portal, but this other, and I'm going to go back and get the name properly because I don't want to keep saying other program.
Come on, Stay Out.
No. Changing Situations, because Changing Situations was in the portal and they are now partnering. That is where my question was, and what was provided to us, I did not, although I saw partnership, I did not see Changing Situations in a role like I saw in some of the descriptions.
They're not even in the motion.
Changing, that one group you're talking about was in the email that I'm getting ready to send to everybody. It was in the portal.
Exactly.
It was in the portal, and it was one that I was gonna suggest we take a look at.
Yep.
Not Get Out, Stay Out. I think I said it right. Yes.
Madam Mayor, I think Come Out, Stay Out, and Changing Situations is a perfect partnership, because what we're trying to do is change the situation of the guys that's getting out of jail We want them to be with their children. We want them to go to work. And changing the situation, it has to improve the city and our kids. If you're talking to these guys while they in prison, come out, stay out, has an agreement with the Department of Labor, with the Corrections Department, where they go to the prison and talk to the prisoners while they in prison. And they mentor the children while their parents are locked up. Changing situations, if that's not changing the situation of the people in the city of Saginaw, I don't know what is. You got the opportunity to talk to the children while their parents locked up, and you got the opportunity to talk to the prisoners while they locked up. This has never been done in the city of Saginaw. The sheriff in Flint is doing a great job, but it's even hiring some of these guys as on his police force. So I think we should get opportunity for changing situations and Pastor Holden to speak on their partnership. They already got a fiduciary. The city have vetted them. The people who Guidehouse has vetted them. And I think we're ready to roll. All we need to do is get these guys out of prison and get them to doing the right thing for their children so we can be a productive members in society when they get out.
Yes, Councilwoman Sylvia.
Thank you so very much. So what I want to understand, and I think Councilman Copeland kind of made it a little more light. So is the problem, because like Councilman Ball said, they were vetted through Guidehouse and also the city. So the main thing is that the partnership organization is not being named in this I would say collaboration.
Right.
Because I like to see collaboration, but is that a kind of a point where changing situations / get out, stay out, would that make more sense? Is that kind of where we're going?
For me, because I'm with Councilman Williams, I don't think it's fair because we just had Ms. Boulware come and share that she was supposed to be a part of a program and, it didn't happen. Because in the future, I want whoever that was for them to come back and partner together. And so, because what we vote on today will set a new precedent, because we're now telling people, hey, you can collaborate, but when it comes before council, we need to see whoever was in the portal, because right now, I want to vote yes, but how this is described, I cannot fully vote yes, because I don't see changing situations.
In the name, okay.
And who we're giving that money to. I see get out, stay out.
Okay, so, and that's what we've been saying, and I say it a lot, I don't know who else, collaboration. Come on, let's get together and let's do these things collaboratively. So, I don't know if we need to, change the name part, so it, signifies that both of these entities are together.
A partnership agreement.
A partnership agreement, and I'm ready. I'm ready.
Councilman Williams, I see everybody's hands.
Okay.
So, that's fine, but the way this is presented, that's where this is, Bishop Holden, this is where this is getting screwed up. It's how it's been presented, okay? Flat out, period. If he wasn't in the portal, if the program wasn't in the portal, but you have a program that's already there, that program should have been leading. Because if there's no way for any of us to go back to the people in the community and be able to justify and rationalize this. Because what it looks like now, and this is just my perspective, is that we're trying to get you in through the back door when you really could have been through the front door with the organization that you are partnering with. So now, truth, transparency, this doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. The presentation is off. The presentation is off. And to speak to Councilman Ball, because the integrity of the program, no, it's there.
is that this has nothing to do with the program being this or that and what's needed, because we know this program is needed in Saginaw. We know that. But don't handcuff council with a bad presentation, and we can't give it to the community based on how it was brought to us.
Council, Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
According to, and this, I agree with what Councilwoman Williams is saying, we received the updated proposal that includes the new fiduciary and the new partner. In that proposal, it says the proposed workforce development program will be administered through Come Out, Stay Out. And it elaborates from there, but that's the new proposal. It doesn't say that it's going to be administered through Ms. Roby's program. And frankly, if her program was worthy, we should have considered it on its own as the lead and then figured out how to partner the other way, but it is very much the presentation. So.
I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
Councilman Balls.
Well, that's no, we have in our communication to amend the motion to make it state that they are partnering. And all we have to do is amend the motion to say that, Come Out, Stay Out will be partnering with changing situations. The fiduciary will still be, will be the Saginaw Community Foundation. So all we gotta do is make a motion to say that,
That's to the point.
that the changing situations will be partnering with Come Out, Stay Out, and the Community Foundation will be the fiduciary.
You can't do that.
You can do that.
No, you can't, because change in the one program was in the portal for another amount, just like when you present before.
It don't
It
matter,
just
you
has
give
to
them what
be.
you want to give them. We had other people that come here and got certain amounts, and then we give them more. That's no issue.
Can we get an opinion from the attorney?
Do anybody want to help the people that's getting out of jail?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, how we gonna
Point
do
of
it?
In the right way.
This is the right way we be doing it like this, Reggie?
You really did.
Yeah.
This is,
What?
we talking backwards in front of the city.
Can we get the attorney's opinion real quick?
We do a lot of, I ain't gonna tell
Yes.
you about the city.
Go ahead,
There's been a
man.
lot of things that happen in the city we may not like.
Go ahead.
The city don't get sued for no reason at all. We had
Point of order.
situations where the
Point
city
of order.
gets sued. When we get sued,
of order.
it's not because we did things right, it's because things happen wrong. Sometimes things happen wrong, but ain't nothing wrong with this. Changing situations, partnering with Come Out, Stay Out. There's nothing
All right.
wrong with that.
Councilman Balls, our attorney, can we get an opinion?
I have a question for the attorney.
Yes, please.
Damn, see this?
Respectfully, if Councilman Balls has to recuse himself from this vote, is that something that he's able to argue in favor of?
He wouldn't be, he wouldn't be the one to make a motion to amend on it
It's just
if
strictly
there
the
was a
motion. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Why would you have to recuse, why would he have to recuse himself?
He already has.
He already said yes, yeah.
All right.
I need some direction. I need some direction from our attorney and from the team. Mr. Williams, Councilman Williams makes a valid point. It don't look good. And I'm not saying that I'm not for get out, stay out. I would love to give them the money the right way. Not backdooring and not making people feel like their program is not worthy. I've got another group that's sitting here saying they got kids ready to start. They got up and told us that tonight. And we're saying, okay, we're waiting to see this. Yes, Councilwoman Sylvia.
I guess at this particular point, I would like to hear from Guidehouse that vetted the program, and also from the city, you know, to get a clear explanation of why they thought it was all right.
So Guidehouse and the city staff reviewed the programming to make sure it fits in the guidelines, okay? The issue of whether it comes in through the portal or not, that's a council policy decision. So that's on council to decide if that's what you, that's how you want the allocations to move.
And then if you look at the bottom where the recommendation was, it says it in bold letters. Guidehouse says they were not in the portal, they only got in, they didn't come at the end of the portal date. Hear me well, Councilman Ball, I'm not saying that I'm not for it. I'm saying, I just want to do it the right way.
Your voice is your vote, if you for it or not.
That's right.
Just make it do what it do.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. So there seems to be a lot of discussion, and there's been a lot of discussion about this. You know, the portal timeframes were from what time to what time? Do we remember for submissions?
2 years?
Yeah.
But when was it, though? Do we remember anybody?
It was over.
I don't remember the
6-7
timeframe.
months.
It was a pretty long process.
Like 6 or 7 months.
6 or 7 months, right?
Probably, yeah.
Uh-huh. And again, admittedly, during that time, I ran out and told everybody in the community that I knew to apply for, where to apply for the portal, how to apply in the portal, and on, right? The people that we know and we represent are the people that ended up in the portal. So there's no backdooring going on.
This is.
So,
Please, man.
hold on.
I know back door, man.
For the workforce committee to go through the portal, and again, I'll repeat what I had said last meeting. We met with Guidehouse a number of times. We had gone through the applications. I had my favorites. Councilman Balls had his. We had given money to folks that had been clawed back, and then exhausted our folks that had those applications. The young lady that came last meeting did not have a $60,000 workforce development application. It was a $750,000 application. So when you amend those amounts, you would have different responses from different committees. There have been folks that are on boards that have voted to allocate money. There are folks that weeks later got on boards to allocate money. There are folks that have been friends of other folks that allocated money. So we could put it all out there. This is no nefarious thing. And I don't agree with saying, I love the program, great program, would love to do it, but I'm handcuffing myself because of a portal that is not as far-reaching as it can be. There are folks that had missed the portal deadline that are still willing to do good work in the community. And if it's a self-imposed portal, it's handcuffing our ability to help folks. There are few advocates for folks that are in prison, very few. I admittedly told nobody in prison that there are ARPA funds for them. So I think if we're looking to do good, that this is a good program. That's all I have for now, but I can understand reactions from everyone's faces that didn't touch your souls.
Yes, Councilman Williams.
Let's be clear, again, this has nothing to do about the program. Nothing at all. It has everything to do with how it was presented tonight. Be accountable in that. Be accountable in your action, that's what it is. Because had it been presented the right way, I'm pretty sure it probably would have got the votes that it needed to pass. But right now, the way it's been presented, no. And to sit up here and keep trying to pull at heartstrings and blah, 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 this is business. Leave your emotions out there. This is business.
Okay, call for the vote.
We got the motion, yes.
So, Mayor Moore, I am looking for some guidance, because whatever way we go, it still is gonna leave us with questions of, because we still got money. And how do we move forward from this, because we've already said it. It's not the program, it's how it's brought up. I mean, we know, and if we vote on this tonight, we are setting the precedents. And I think we just need to make that clear, that it's not about emotions and all, it's about policy. It is about us as council, because if we approve this tonight, we open up the floodgates. And we are going to have other organizations who are doing this work, who are starting up their own organization, who are going to come to us and say, well, you gave them that money and we're a startup, why won't you give it to us? That's what we're going to open up. It's going to come back to food insecurity. It's going to go to youth development. It's going to hit all of our buckets, because now we have voted on something that we said it was not going to be done. And I get it that, right now, out of all of the 13, that there was no one qualified. At that point, if no one is qualified, we put that money back in the bucket. Or we open up a process just for workforce development that gives everyone the opportunity, not just people we know. Because as you said, some of us are on boards. I want us to put it on there, put it out there. If it's me, tell me. I don't hide nothing. But if we're going to do that and say, because we went through these 13 and there was no one, and so you all went outside and found it, we got to open that up to everybody and say, hey, workforce development, only this bucket, because we vetted the 13 and no one was qualified, we're going to give everybody the chance to do that, because we talked about ARPA is equity, and it's equitable. And we only have one great program, but we know it's because we connected the folks. So if we're going to do it right, and we say because we don't have enough qualified, we got to put it out there for workforce development to everybody, especially with it being a startup.
I just have a question. So is this something
Yes.
we can table? Because like the change in situation partner, this is the first I'm hearing about them, to know more about them, what they offer, and then tie it up somehow, if that's the way they're going with their bucket. I just was trying to get some understanding of how this can be worked out.
Okay, and let me say this. It is going to be imperative that we figure out how much we need to increase Guidehouse. It's already been said. If we're doing startup programs, somebody has to monitor them programs. So what's the increase? I just wanted to say that so you can think, since you're thinking. Yes, Councilwoman.
I'm going to have to probably concur with Councilwoman Garcia. Can we make a motion to table this during this motion or not?
You can make a motion, but it's as it's written. So what you're tabling is still the motion, not including changing situations.
Okay,
Yes, you can make the motion, but you've got another motion on the table, so,
There's just one motion. It's
right.
just the
But if she
motion.
puts the motion on the floor, it's two.
The motion to postpone would
Right.
make the main motion go away.
Yes.
May I make a motion to add changing situations to the motion? And if we decide to postpone,
It's already in there.
it is postponed with changing situations in it.
Is that a
It is not currently in there.
It's not in the motion, it's not.
It's not in there, so.
That's what I was saying, the
It's
presentation.
it's not currently in here, but we have an amendment.
We need a second before we start
Okay.
discussing.
Was that a motion?
Yes, that was a motion.
Yeah, that was a
I'm
motion.
making a motion to amend the main motion to add changing situations.
Second.
It's been moved to second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Oh, I'm sorry. I
And for
did it wrong. I did it
clarification.
wrong.
Yeah, can you reread what?
For clarification, Councilmember Balls abstained.
I did.
Thank you.
Let's do it again.
I'm sorry, can you read what it is supposed to say?
Be a roll call.
So we're tabling this, is that?
No. They're adding a name. Can you read it again, please, Madam Clerk?
So the motion itself was to adopt the resolution allocating ARPA funds to the Saginaw Community Foundation for the benefit of and as fiduciary for TD Holden Jail and Prison Ministries Inc. in the amount of $740,000 for eligible programming or capital expenses for the Come Out, Stay Out Workforce Development Program. The amendment is to add Changing Situations as a partner. So right now, you're just voting on adding Changing Situations to that
Okay.
motion.
Did you hear Councilwoman Flores?
Yeah. So-
Okay, the motion's on the floor to add changing, what's the name of it?
Situation.
Changing situations.
But are we gonna be able to look more? Oh,
Yep, we got to do it one at a time.
okay, I just wanna make sure I'm understanding, okay.
It's been moved to second, I'm sorry. I'm calling for the vote. All those in favor of adding change to the,
Changing situation.
messed it up again.
Changing situation.
But you know what I'm saying, adding the change, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed,
No.
Councilmember.
roll call vote.
Councilmember Sylvia.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
No.
Councilmember Balls abstains. Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
No.
Councilmember Ostash.
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia.
I guess no, because I'm trying to figure out the thing.
This is just on the amendment still. Councilmember Flores.
Yes.
Councilmember Copeland.
Yes.
And Mayor Moore.
Yes.
You have 5 yes, 3 no, and 1 abstention. Carries.
Now, you can make your motion.
So now my motion would be I want to table it to do further investigation on changing situation partner. Sure. Oh, postpone?
Table, you just put it on the table.
Oh, okay, postpone, I'm sorry.
So postpone, I'm sorry, what was the second part?
To postpone, to look more into changing situation partners with the TD Holden Jail and Prison Ministries.
Okay, was there a second?
Second.
It's been moved to second, any discussion?
Right here.
Yes.
I'm gonna get real, techie. Can I amend her motion, make a motion to amend, to add with a detailed partner agreement?
Well, you know what, we gotta get that anyways.
Yeah, no, but I just wanna make sure, because what we were provided, it was an agreement.
Right.
But I wanna, in this new thing, a detailed partner agreement that really specifies their respective roles and responsibilities in the operation of this. If we give them this money, what is each of their responsibilities,
Their
changing
role.
situations, and get out, stay out.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I need a
Was
second.
there a second on?
Second.
It's been moved to second. Now we're up for discussion. Yes.
No question. I just want to make it clear that I will definitely be down to support this if other entities and agencies that have been in the portal, that have come forth with money, that have not received money, will back this. After all of this transparency and discussion, if they will back it, I'm down. So I just want to make that clear, Bishop, that I'm down to support, to give you the money if these other agencies come forward and say, we will support that. Because what's going to happen, just like Councilman Copeland said, it's going to be a backlash from this.
I've been saying that all the time. I've been saying that all the time, y'all. Somebody was listening, thank you. So we got a vote, we got a motion on the floor.
We have a couple of them. The first
We
one,
have a
you're gonna-
couple.
Yep, you're gonna take the vote on the amendment to add with a detailed partnership agreement.
Okay. Any other questions? It's a motion on the floor. Please read it again.
So the motion, the original motion was to postpone for further research regarding changing situations as a partner. And then the amendment is to add that a detailed partnership agreement be included. So you're on the amendment. Take
And
a
it's
vote.
been moved to second. Any more discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it.
You're back to the main. which is.
The
to
main
postpone.
motion was, can you read that again?
Yep, it's to postpone, to further research changing situations as a partner with a detailed partnership agreement provided.
Okay, did everybody hear that? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Now we got one more motion on the floor, don't we?
Nope.
But that's it.
Nope, now we're on miscellaneous business.
Miscellaneous business. Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
I'm not there yet.
Sorry.
How's you go adjourn something? Sit over there in your place. We go adjourn. Do we have, who? Okay, miscellaneous.
You act like you don't want me to.
No.
Okay, that's all right. Motion to adopt the resolution allocating ARPA funds to Emma's House in the amount of $100,000 for eligible capital expenses.
For who?
Second.
For who?
Emma's House.
Emmaus.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emmaus
Thank you.
House, I'm sorry for the mispronunciation.
It was moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? The motion is, please read it again.
It's to adopt a resolution allocating ARPA funds to the Emmaus House in the amount of $100,000 for eligible capital.
Calling for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Do we have any other thing? Yes, Councilwoman Sylvia.
My question wasn't answered by the city manager in regards to Yarn.
I think we got an update coming up.
I just,
Yeah, so I'll send you a detailed update, but basically, the contract, the allocation for the URN program and the contract are with World Outreach. Understanding that the board has a new fiduciary, there will need to be action by council regarding that contract with World Outreach.
okay.
So, but we, aside from the last meeting when we had the report cards, so since that meeting, we took it on as, actually Lori Brown, our finance director, has been working directly with World Outreach to try to reconcile the grant. I think we'll be done with that process in the next couple weeks. So we'll update you on that financial status too.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? I need a motion to adjourn. Councilman Flores.
Motion to adjourn.
I need a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Everybody have a good night.